All right, let's get this party started. Everybody, welcome. My name is Mariceli Santiago. I am the Director of Student Life and Activities here at Central Texas College. And welcome, Eagles! Yay! We're so excited to have you on board and welcome, welcome. We really, really want you to take the opportunity, get all your questions answered. For those of you that are joining us through Facebook right now and don't know, we have been having an amazing conversation already with some of the people that are joining us live in our WebEx. So thank you for you guys. We have had great conversations already, and I think it's going to be even better as we go along. So thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. We are kind of going to get started, and I'm going to share my quick PowerPoint. And that's we're going to talk about. We have a few things to discuss. Well, we have a lot of things to discuss today. And so I want to make sure that we have the time necessary to be able to see it all. Where are you? There we go. Can you guys see the right page or the wrong one? Do you see the big one or the one with everything on the little ones?
I see the big
one.
The
Big
big
one.
one.
Excellent. I did it right. Yay. Sometimes I do it wrong. Thank you guys. Thanks for the feedback. All right.
Yeah.
So this is our new student orientation for those of you that are taking classes in the summer. But if you're starting in the fall, this is still a great opportunity for you because we want to make sure that you have as much time as possible to get prepared and to know what to expect. Um, in our agenda today, we're going to do this quick welcome. And we're going to have a few individuals from our administration say hi to you. And then we're going to talk a little bit about Eagle Mail and the importance of our Eagle Mail. From there, we're going to talk Blackboard. And I know a lot of you had questions about Blackboard and online classes, and all of that's going to be addressed. Then we're going to have the faculty panel. We have quite a few faculty that have joined us today. They want to make sure that that they're going to talk to you about what to expect in the classroom. That's the perfect opportunity for you to ask them, hey, this is what I want. This is what I'm looking for. How can I make things happen? And so talking to the faculty today is going to be that opportunity for you. Then we're going to have Pearl Creviston from Financial Aid join us. She's going to help us figure out exactly what it is that you need to know about financial aid, how it works, and also some of the things that you need to be on the lookout for. We're going to have Richard from Academic Advising. He's going to talk to you a little bit about the things that you have to keep in mind as you're going through your degree plan. We're going to have our campus police join us and talk about safety and security. Then we're going to talk about the conduct and resources that we have available here on campus for you, and just in general to help you be successful. And last but not least, we're going to have a Q&A where you have questions and we give you the answers. Okay? So this is the general idea, the plan for today. As we go along, please go ahead and type any questions that you may have. We'll be trying to address them as quickly as we can, but if not, we'll definitely look at them during the Q&A and try to get all the answers as quickly as possible. So for our welcome, I am going to start and ask that Dr. Robin Garrett, she is our Deputy Chancellor, and I'm going to stop sharing so that you can see her face because she's going to be somewhere over here. She can unmute herself and she can let you know how excited she is. She actually does get very excited for these. She loves meeting you guys. So I'm going to take it away, Dr. Garrett.
Thank you, Mariceli. Well, I am very, very excited. These new student orientations and graduations, those are what I live for. We just had our graduation May 13th, and it was the best ever. And we look forward to having each and every one of you walk across that stage for graduation soon, okay? Might not be tomorrow, obviously, but soon. On behalf of the executive team, that's our chancellor, Mr. Jim Yiannopoulos, Dr. Ady, and Dr. Carter, and myself, we welcome you. We welcome you to Central Texas College. We have the best faculty here. We have the best staff here. Each and every one is here to look out for you and your best interest and hope that you can meet your individual goals. We want to help you achieve that. We want you to be successful, and we are all here. You can see there's a ton of us on this orientation because we care. We care about you, and we want you to meet your goals. So please reach out to them. I'm sorry about all that. We want you to be very, very successful. So thank you, and won't take any more of your time. Enjoy your time with the orientation, get your questions answered, but we do Q&As every once in a while also. So we're going to have live sessions where you can answer more questions. So thank you very much. Have a great, great orientation.
Thank you, Dr. Garrett. Thank you very, very much. Now I would like to introduce my boss, the lady who keeps me sane. She is the Dean of Student Success and Persistence. And now if you want somebody who is even more chipper than me, she's the one. Welcome. Welcome, Dean Julie Starkey.
Hey guys, how are you all? Very excited to be here. And no, I don't think I could ever be more chipper than Mariceli. I don't think that's possible. I am the Dean for Student Success and Persistence, and so I'm so excited to have all of you be here. But also, please know my messages are always about, I want you to be successful. I want you to achieve your educational goals, whatever they might be. And I have to tell you, you being here at this orientation is step one, because you're going to get unbelievable information and you're going to get a head start. And I can tell by the questions that you're asking, your brains are just going 90 miles an hour right now and you want answers. And we're going to give you those because, you know, we have people on this meeting who are going to give you just that information. I encourage you through the event today, though, use the chat. If we're not going down a path or we're not answering a question, because we're going to put information in the chat for anybody and everybody, ask your question, because we have several staff that are monitoring that and getting information out to you. But I wanted to give you a couple of tips that I think are really important, and you're going to hear these echoed, particularly from the faculty when they start talking to you, because we're all about your success, but we want you to know a few things. First thing, guys, and I know this is going to be obvious, you got to go to class every day, every single day, every single day. Don't schedule appointments during your class. You've got to go to class. And if you're in an online class, you need to log in very regularly and stay up on those. And you're going to hear about that from the faculty. But that's number one. Make that commitment and just make it happen. You need to turn in everything. I can't tell you how many students I talk to. We get to the tail end of the semester, and I don't know, they had 4 tests. Each test was worth 25% of their grade, and they forgot to take the first test. What is the best they can do in the class? 75%. So you're already down a C. Guys, look at everything on that syllabus, and I want you to make a commitment to me right here and now that you're going to turn everything in. You're going to get it all in by the deadline, and you're going to follow that syllabus. And again, Dr. Reese is going to talk in depth with you about that syllabus and the importance of that. I need you to get to know your instructors. That is your number one resource at this institution. I'm big on resources, and I have all kinds of resources to offer you, and you're going to go through a session. We're going to talk to you about those resources. But your number one best resource is your instructor. You need to get to know them. You need to talk to them. You need to email them. You need to ask them questions. That is where you're going to get the best information about your class and what's going on. I want you to use all of the resources that you're going to hear about starting day one. I don't want you using tutoring at the end. I mean, I do. I want you using tutoring at the end, but I want you to start tomorrow. I want you to start ASAP with our tutoring, and we're going to talk about that. I want you to use the library and understand how to use their databases from day one. We have counseling, we have all kinds of support services for you, and I want you using those resources day one, okay? And commit to that because they're amazing things, and it's going to help you be successful. And the final thing is, today, I want you to ask your questions. I don't want you to sit there quietly. I want you to. I've already been seeing that, but you've got to ask. And I want that to carry through during the entire semester. I don't want you to sit around being confused or lost or anything like that. And we're going to put a lot of contact people in the chat. grab on to one of those names. Remember my name, Julie Starkey. I'm gonna put it in the chat. I'm gonna give you my email and phone number. A lot of other people will do the same thing. If you get lost, confused, I want you to reach out and ask your question. I know the faculty want you to do that as well. Guys, I'm so excited you're here. I want you to have a great semester. And I want you to have a great new student orientation. And what's going to make it great is if you ask your questions. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. I'm going to turn it back over to Mariceli and we're going to get this thing going, I think.
All right, I want to give a big shout out. We have quite a little group starting to show up here at our Discord. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Welcome. I am so excited to have you here. Please make sure that you're also typing in any questions that you have. We'll try to address them as quickly as we can when we can. But welcome. Very excited to have you here. All right, and let's see here. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about Eagle Mail and how important it is. So to do that, I'm going to show you really quickly a video, and I'm going to share that. Please remain muted, please, if you are not talking. But yes, I'm going to show you this video. I'm going to share it with everybody. And once we get that rolling, then I'm actually going to ask Dr. Dr. Daniel Wegert. He is also from our science department. He is going to talk to you guys a little bit about the importance of email for our faculty and for you in general. Okay. All right. Take it away. Let me see the video. Wait.
So, but you keep texting. Oh, wait, that wasn't meant for. Never mind. He's just rambling about Naruto.
Oh.
Hey Mariceli, the video isn't playing the sound.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but we could not hear the video.
I know. I apologize because this just kind of froze on me. I apologize to everybody. There has been an issue with my page, but I am going to ask Dr. Daniel Wegert, please talk to you guys a little bit about the importance of email. So Dr. Wegert, can you take it away, please?
Sure. So I'm Dr. Daniel Wegert. I'm a professor over here in the science department, and we had the little video up here. I know that sound didn't go through, but it talked a little bit about Eagle Mail. Eagle Mail is going to be your student email for the entire time you're at CTC. And it's really, really important that you check this or have it forwarded to an email that you prefer to use, because this is the way we are supposed to contact you in case anything happens with a class. So if your professor is sick and the class gets canceled, the email saying that, hey, class is canceled will be going to your CTC email account. If you don't check it, obviously you don't get all that information. And we're not really supposed to be emailing out to other emails, or at least that's what we've been told, is they want us to use the CTC email accounts. Also, it's really important that you use this when you try to get a hold of us. If you are using an outside email account, when you contact your professor, there's a chance the email will be caught in a spam filter or get quarantined in the quarantine system we have for our emails. So if you use the CTC email account, it should get through to your professor. If you don't, you may not hear back for a while because we may not get your email right away. So please try to use this system. Now, my understanding is you're not going to have access right away to your email. I believe I was told you would have access after you register and your first class starts is when you would get access to your Eagle Mail account. But in some cases, I think it's been delayed up to a couple of weeks in some cases. So in the meantime, if you don't have access to it, we're going to be talking about Blackboard. One of the other professors will talk about Blackboard next, I believe. In Blackboard, there is also a message system where you can send messages to your professor. That will go through no problem. But you can also email from outside email accounts. Just keep in mind, it may not get through right away to the professor. And it's really, really important, though, that you be using the email and be contacting your professor, especially in online classes. When you come and take a face-to-face class with us, we can look out, we can see your faces. If we're covering something and you're not understanding it, we can usually get an idea that you're not understanding something. But if you're not physically in front of us and you're not understanding something, we can't tell that unless you speak up. And the best way to get a hold of anybody, whether it's a face-to-face or an online class, is via email. Because some of us will be in our offices a lot. Some of us aren't in our office as much because we teach that many classes. But the email, once you send it, it'll be there when we get back. So please make use of that email system to get a hold of your professor and be proactive. Don't wait till after something's due to say, hey, I've got a problem, or hey, I've got a question. Please try and contact us ahead of time so we can help. We want to help you succeed. You're going to hear that a lot, but we really do want you to succeed. But we can only help you when we know you need the help. This is going to be your best way to get a hold of us. And I think there were a couple of people in here asking questions about specific courses. The best thing you can do is contact the professor ahead of time. Most classes will have the professor's name listed there, and you can go on to CTC's website, find their email address in the directory, and shoot them an email. Or look for the department and shoot an email to that department and ask them, hey, can you help me out with this question? There's plenty of folks around here, even through the summer, that will be glad to help you as long as we know you need the help. So, Mariceli, I think unless anybody's got specific questions.
All right, so I don't see any specific, well, I can't see questions right now. I'm having a little bit of an issue on my back end because, yeah, I apologize for that. However, I was going to ask that Dr. Reese, if you could please talk a little bit about how Blackboard works and all of that. And then Dr. Wegert, maybe you could come back and help us with the panel in a little bit, okay? Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Of course. Well, welcome everyone. I am excited to see so many people on our new student orientation this morning. So right now, what I am tasked with is actually talking to you about Blackboard. I have 10 minutes to do this. So as I'm going through it, please go ahead and put any questions you have into the chat. I'll try to watch both the chat and also what I'm doing at the same time. If I miss something, I'll make sure to come back to the questions at the end. So those of you who are wondering, well, what is Blackboard? I don't even know. I've never even heard of that before. Well, Blackboard basically is our online classroom, our virtual classroom for you. So if you are taking online classes, you will 100% use Blackboard. If you are taking a blended course, meaning it is part-time in the classroom and part-time online, you will use Blackboard. Also, most of our lecture courses use some form of Blackboard for the classes, whether it's just for the syllabus or to take your exams. But as many people have already said, this really is up to how your instructor is going to hold class. So the first thing that I want to show you, and let me tell you ahead of time before I even show you how to get there. Many times students will go along with me while I am showing how to use Blackboard and start typing into the chat, I can't access it, I can't access it. And it's by all the students. The problem is that you don't have access yet. So if this is your first time taking classes with us, you will not have access until the Friday before your class starts. So if you are signed up to start taking classes on May 31st, then you will have access tomorrow, sometimes in the morning, sometimes around noon, and sometimes it's into the afternoon, depending on how big the start date is. But you cannot access it right now. So don't stress out and think something's wrong with your login. Nothing's wrong with your login. It just isn't activated yet. So how do you get there? Well, there's many ways to get there. I'll show you one of the easiest ways, in my opinion, to remember. You should all be familiar with our homepage, ctcd.edu, which I am showing you now. From here, you can scroll down to the bottom of the page. Hopefully I don't make anybody seasick here. But again, you could also do a Control F, many ways to get there. And then you will see under these quick links, you will see a one for Blackboard. As soon as you click on it, it's going to take you to the login screen here. You'll type in your username and you'll type in your password. So your username is going to be your student ID basically. And if you're not sure what that is, you don't have it written down anywhere, you don't know where the email is where you received that information with your acceptance, all you'll have to do is click on See Blackboard login instructions, as well as look up your username here. And then you can actually look up to see what that student ID is. Your password is going to be your date of birth, month, day, year, the first time you sign on. That's the process for signing on. Again, if you haven't taken any classes with us yet, no one is going to be able to access Blackboard today because tomorrow would be the soonest, those of you taking classes on the 31st. So once we were to log in, this is what you are going to see in some form or fashion. Mine is set up to my preferences, so yours will look slightly different. And of course, you're not going to have faculty resources. You will have student resources instead. But the main thing that you're going to be looking for are this area here that says My Courses. And here you can see a list of your courses. So if you're taking one course for the summer, then you will only have one course listed there. If you have multiple courses, then you will be able to access each one of those. So now I'm going to show you what it looks like when you go into the course. So the course that I'm going into right now is Office Management. So if anybody on here is taking my Office Management course that starts on Tuesday, you'll get a sneak peek. So as soon as I click on that, I'm showing you my student mode right here. So most of our classes will go to this entry page, if you will, that goes to your announcements. You have heard multiple times already to communicate, read the syllabus, stay informed. This is yet another place to where every time you log in, you might just want to review the announcements to see what your instructor has to offer you. In most of our classes, we are very active either in messages or on the announcements, depending on instructor preference. But as you can see here, I am one that's very active. I love announcements. Or I'm active in this section. So I've got my welcome message, information on your Eagle Mail, lots of other things that are available for my students to check out. So you always want to make sure to check out your announcements. I'm going to show you since I only have 10 minutes, I'm going to show you the most important areas, the most common areas of Blackboard. You've already heard multiple times, and I will probably say it 3 more times, even in my 8 minutes that remain here, but how important your syllabus is. This really is going to be your roadmap to success. It is going to tell you everything you need to know about the class, how to be successful, those assignments that Dean Starkey was talking about. That's where you're going to find what those assignments are. You can print out a checklist. It's very important to keep you on a path to success. I also want to let you know that we do have a recorded version of a 45-minute long Blackboard overview that we did maybe 6 or 8 months ago. And I was, maybe Bruce, I believe I saw you on the people that were here. If you could maybe link that into the chat. And if he's not here, I will look for it when I'm finished speaking. So again, if this isn't enough, we have other options for you to get more training in Blackboard. So again, announcements are here. On the left-hand side, you can see multiple other pages that we can go to. If you're brand new, which most of you are, we're going to go to Start Here. I'm not going to read this to you, but this is fairly consistent in all of your classes. It gives you a lot of different resources, how to become familiar with your Blackboard course, a lot of different instructions, how to communicate. Again, this is standard in all of our classes. From there, I'm going to come back to BioSig enrollment in a minute. We also have the ability, as you have heard, to contact your instructor through Blackboard. So this message tool on the left-hand side, if you were to click on it, you would be able to create a message. I'm not going to do that because then you would see everyone that is enrolled in my class, and I cannot share that type of information. But if you wanted to create a message, you could, and you would be able to see everybody that is in your course. You can see here that I don't have any messages in my inbox or in my sent box, but this is where your instructor might also contact you. Now, Syllabus Page 1 and Page 2, this is very important. Syllabus Page 1 is going to give you, for all of your classes, this is set up fairly similar because we all go through the same process to get started. So we have our course introduction, description, and learning outcomes on Syllabus Page 1, followed by those course materials that you are going to need for your course. This is a great section to come to. I know that we had a lot of questions from people about the course materials. Some of you are worried that what you see online and at the bookstore might not be exactly what you have to have. And as Dr. Wiggert said, that you can reach out directly to your faculty member to see what they require for the course. So you're welcome to email them. And then as soon as you have access to your course, it will be available here for you as well. Further down, we have our extension policy, which hopefully that won't be anybody because we're all going to stay on track to success. And keep in mind that our extension policy, you really do have to have most of the course complete and be successful in the course. This is really only for extenuating circumstances that extensions are granted. Below that, you will have frequently asked questions. And again, each instructor will have differently frequently asked questions. And then at the very bottom, another great resource for you. This will be on Syllabus Page 1 in all of your courses. But there's a student orientation that our distance education department has put together. So you would be able to also watch what they have created if you just want even more information on how to use Blackboard. So I will try not to go too fast to get back up to the top here. And Syllabus Page 2, this is the one that you are going to want to truly focus on. This is going to answer a lot of the questions that you guys have that I've seen coming up in the chat earlier today. And I'm going to scroll down. I do see that the Blackboard recorded session has been posted if you want to watch that. Delivery terms. Those of you who said, well, how do I even know what I'm taking? How long's the course? When's the start date? When's the end date? What type of course am I taking? Delivery terms are going to tell you. You can see here that this is an online self-paced course that I am offering. Self-paced means that it has a start date of the 31st, has an end date of June 1st. It's 5 weeks in length. And basically in that 5-week period, my students, even though I do not recommend it, are able to wait until the very last day to complete all the assignments and submit them. Now, there's not time to do that in the very last day, of course, because of course there's an experience that you go through in reading and doing all of the assignments that are connected to it. However, I do have some students that wait to see how much they want to complete and what grade they want in the class, basically. So again, stay on top of this. Make sure that you see what the start date is, see what the end date is, and then also see if it is a self-paced course, if it is a lecture course. So if this were a lecture course, I would have the lecture, let's just say it's a Monday, Wednesday course, meeting from 9 to 10:30 in building 246. It would say all of that right there. One thing I want to draw your attention to, and this is something that many people have learned the hard way, is this right here. We have a procedure in place that where our administration requires us, the faculty, to drop any non-participating student by a specific date. Now that date varies. I can't tell you it's 5 days, 6 days, 2 weeks, because it's based on the length of the course. But there is a time frame. So you can see for this course that starts on the 31st, if you are not active by June 3rd at 8 a.m., I have to drop the student. Logging into Blackboard does not mean that you're active. Logging in and completing a graded assignment means that you are active. So you have to complete whatever that instructor says right here. It shows you that mine is the course procedures quiz. So if you do not complete that, by that time, you will be dropped. Now, if you're having a hard time logging into class, since this is your first semester, all you need to do is email your instructor, let them know of an issue that you're having. Also, those of you who are concerned about being out of time during the dates. So if you were in my class, those of you who said you were going to be gone June 13th through the 17th, mine's self-paced, so it really doesn't matter that you're gone. It's okay. If this were a course though that had meeting dates and times, or that I said there's an assignment due on June 14th, you would want to make sure to reach out to me to let me know that you were going to be gone. And then as the instructor, I would tell you how I wanted you to handle that, whether I wanted you to take it ahead of time or if you could take it upon your return. Again, that will be up to your instructor. Scrolling further down, we have our assignments. So as you can see here, this is what I was telling you. This right here is the roadmap. This is what my students have to do. And when I suggest, again, mine's self-paced, that it is due. What I would do if I were you is in every one of your classes, I would print this off. This is just up to me. This is how I like, I'm one who likes to make a list and cross things off to show me that I've done it. So I would print this out, and then as I completed things, I would either check mark it or I would cross it off, and then I would double check that it was submitted. So that's how I would personally do that. Of course, that's going to be up to you and how you want to handle that. But again, here are all of our due dates laid out. You get your exam information, how things are graded. So those of you who are thinking, well, I want to make sure that I get an A in this class. Well, you can see here how many points each assignment is worth and the point value that you have to have. You'd have to have a 900 at least in my course in order to get an A. So again, as Dean Starkey mentioned, make sure just to go through and complete all the assignments, that will be a starting off correctly and making sure that you are ready to take the course and aware of all of the things that you are required to submit for your instructor. So that's the syllabus. I'm going to scroll back up to the top, and I'm just going to point out a few things because I only have about 2 minutes left. Each of these on the left-hand side, lessons, case studies, discussion board, exams, that's for my class. In your in the classes that you're going to be taking, it might say reports, or it might say research paper, or it might say group projects. So each of those will be a little bit different for each of your instructors. But as you could see from the syllabus page 2 that I showed you, here you can see that there is a discussion board, there's a case study, and then on this left-hand side, it shows how to use those. The other main thing that I want to share with you is about BioSig, BioSite. So I'm going to go ahead and head to that now. So BioSig and BioSite are required in our courses. Any online course, you will see that you will have BioSite added to your exams. It is something that we are using now to verify that you are who you say you are, while you are not only active in the class, but also while you are testing. Now, don't get nervous. While it is a live recorded testing service, you are blurred when you are being recorded. So really what we're looking for in this is we can see you. We can see if another person is in the room. We can see if you're using your notes. In my class, you're allowed to use your notes. In some other classes, you're not allowed to use your notes based on the departmental policies. Again, that will all be in the syllabus, but it enables us to just make sure that you are the person that is testing, that you do not have assistance from testing. And again, you will be blurred. So do not be nervous that it is going to be a full picture of yourself. So when it is time for you to test, you will just go through the process to set that up. The only other thing that I want to share with you, I know I have about 30 seconds left, is that in some of your classes, you will also have the BioSig ID. So with our BioSig ID, what that looks like, You can read how to set it up, and you can also watch this enrollment video, but this is what the end result will look like. So when I go to my lessons, you can see that my lessons are hidden. You can't see my lessons until you verify you are who you say you are. So I'm going to click on this lesson verification. I'm going to put in my personal BioSig ID that I created, let's see, 8 years ago, I believe, is when I created this one. It's still the same one. You will use it for all of your classes. I can't talk and do this at the same time, so hang on. It's letting me know, great job, I did it correctly. And now that I've done that, it's bringing me back to my lessons, and I am going to now be able to proceed with the class. So Marcelli, are there questions that I did not answer that are in the chat, or anybody else that is monitoring that?
Not sure. Do you need a webcam to use the BioSig?
BioSig. So what I just showed you was BioSig ID. So you do not need a webcam for that. But when testing, you would need a webcam. Now, if you don't have one, no need to fear. We do have ways to help you around it through the use of a cell phone that you would have to set up with our tech support. So if you do not have a webcam, you can still set it up in a different manner.
We did have a question about how to change your password and get password information through Blackboard.
So there is in that setup screen or login screen, there is a link to reset your password or to change your password. But initially it has to be the date of birth, month, day, year.
And I don't remember if you discussed it or not, but you remember how we had the situation where the student might be gone for a whole week and not be able to access the class.
Yes, I did cover that.
Okay, sorry.
Do you want me just to, that's okay.
Just communication.
Yes, communication. Reach out to your instructor. And if it's a self-paced course, then it really doesn't matter, but it's still nice to let them know.
Okay, and who do you, Marquesa, I'm not sure what you mean with who do you need to talk about your start date? So can you in the chat explain a little bit better? But yes, I think I don't see any other questions that are like burning. But I think that's a pretty good segue so that we can start the faculty panel. And it's pretty easy because most of you have, those of you in the WebEx that have been here from the very beginning have already met everyone, but we will reintroduce everyone and we'll go back. So for the faculty panel,
Excuse me?
Yes?
So I have to run errands for my mom, so I'm gonna have to leave the meeting. But can I come back if I'm
Yes, you can come
okay?
back or you can watch it later in YouTube. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so now we're going to go on to the faculty panel. I'm going to ask that, I'm going to introduce everybody that's going to be participating, and we're going to start with Dr. Angela Reese, who you have just met, and she's been talking to you guys. The other person, you've already met him. For everybody, his name is Dr. Daniel Weggert, and he is one of the faculty members in the science department. And then the other faculty member that I have here is Dr. Steven Salvatoe. Some of you have met him, but not everybody. He is one of the chemistry professors and part of the science department as well. So I just want to kind of talk a little bit and kind of give them the opportunity. And I'm probably going to start with Dr. Salvatoe because he hasn't officially talked on this WebEx yet. But what would be the one thing maybe that you would give as advice to every single student that they need to know, regardless of what their degree plan is?
Well, I would say communicate with your professor. A lot of what has already been said, I totally agree with in terms of, you need to read the syllabus. You want to go to class, you want to do the assignments, but really communicate with your professor. Your professor's not going to know if you're having trouble unless you tell them. I always encourage my students to ask questions in class. Every professor does things a little bit differently, as Professor Reese talked about, using Blackboard and announcements and whatnot. But you want to make sure for each of your classes that you really read the syllabus carefully. your professor, if it's a face-to-face class, I usually go over my syllabus in detail the first day. I go over all the expectations and the grading and everything. But if something's not clear, be sure to ask. Your professors really do want you to succeed. And if you're having trouble, professors keep office hours. I arrange for Zoom meetings with my online classes for students to get help. And as Dean Starkey mentioned, there are so many resources available to you as a student on campus. You really want to take advantage of those. So I know I listed more than one, Mariceli, but you kind of hear a common theme here among the professors and among the administrators. Just be in contact with your professor, ask questions if you have them. There's no question that's an irrelevant question.
Right. So thank you very much for that. So now I'm going to go to Dr. Weger and see what his hot tip is.
Yeah, like Dr. Salvatoe said, it's hard to stick to just one, but I think one of the best things you can do for yourself and for your success is plan. Don't wait till the very, very end to take all the hard classes. If you know, hey, I don't like chemistry, I don't like math, I don't like this subject, that subject, whatever. If you have to take classes in that subject, try to spread them out. Don't wait till the very end to take all the hard classes, because then it makes it tough that last semester to get done. But if you can spread some of the harder classes out, mix them in with the easy classes, it won't stress you out as much, and you'll have a better chance getting through those hard classes. But again, communicate as well, because we are here to help, but if you don't let us know you need help, we can't help as much.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So I'm taking my my German 4 class and it's I guess in the summer 2 session. So I go to Texas State, and this is the last class that I need before I graduate. And I had a little bit of trouble with it last semester, and so I was basically wondering, because the class doesn't start until until July 11th. Is it possible to access the syllabus just so I can kind of get an idea of what it is, like, I guess, grammatically, that we're going to be going over, so I can kind of start, focusing more on the highlights of the class, I guess. I'm just trying to get a head start in this because I know I didn't do too hot in it in the spring. So
What I would do is I would get a hold of your instructor, look up who the instructor is for the class, and if you can't find it, contact that department
okay,
and ask them. They'll be able to get you the information you need to know what to prepare for.
okay, perfect, thanks.
Yeah, and I would say for those of you, and I think I saw something in the chat a little while ago, that it basically said like, oh, how do I get a hold of my professor? How do I know who my professor is? If you go to your Eagle self-service and you look at your classes, your actual classes that you have registered for, and you drill into each individual section, it tells you who the professor is. And that is one way of knowing who your professor is. I can't off the top of my head don't remember if it actually gives you like their email, but you can contact the department and say, hey, how do I get a hold of this professor, and what's their email? Not all professors are going to be necessarily right off the bat like answering phone calls, but emails are usually a lot more aware because they're constantly looking at their emails and things like that, to make sure that they're not missing any communication from their students. I don't know if there's a better way to go about that from the faculty. Am I wrong? Is there something else I'm missing?
I think that's great advice. The one thing that I want to add to that, though, is that people that are not full-time instructors, or that are only, that are part-time, that teach as needed, which of course you don't know that, but definitely send the email. If you don't hear back, those of us that are on contract and actively teaching, we reply within 48 hours. If you do not have a response within 48 hours, you are welcome to reach out to the department chair, who is on a 12-month contract and always in the office, or the office assistant, which you're able to find on our department web pages very easily. And there's no problem at all reaching out to them to ask your question as well.
The other thing I would point out, if you know the instructor's name and you go to the main CTC webpage, you can search for directory, and it'll pull up a directory that will list all of the professors from the current year, all of their phone numbers and email addresses. So if you can't find it, in Eagle Self-Service, you can always search the directory and find us that way.
Okay, great. Thank you. Dr. Reese, your hot tip.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I'm going to say communicate. I mean, read your syllabus and follow the syllabus. But on top of that, because I promise you I'd say it at least 3 times, and I only said it twice. So on top of that, I would say that in addition to asking questions about where you are and what you're doing and which direction you're going and what you're studying, as you really start getting into learning more about if you don't know yet, some of you know for sure what you want to be when you grow up. Others of you are still thinking about that, like a lot of us do too, I promise. But as you start having those questions about, this is really what I want to do. What exact classes are going to be best for me? Because you might be, for example, in business, you might be on our Associate of a Science degree program. And really your goal is to start your own business. Then you're on the wrong degree program. So if you realize, when you first come and you talk to your advisors and say you want to be in business, and then you realize, wait, I really want to start my own business, or I really want to get promotion points, or I want to be able to sit for a certain exam. That's when you come to your instructors and say, hey, I've really been thinking about starting a food truck. Am I on the right degree program in order to make sure I achieve that goal in the next 2 years? And I would tell you, well, this is my advice. This is the direction I would tell you to take. So start talking to your instructors too, as you have questions about what you want to do with the degree or certificate that you are pursuing. And we can give you some great pointers about that.
Awesome. Perfect. So, let's see. Are there any other, I know that we've kind of discussed a lot about the communication and all of that, but the other thing about all of this is that this is information that regardless of what your degree plan, regardless of what your goal is, this is regardless of what class you're taking, you need to take this with you and apply it. And so I want you to start thinking also beyond just, well, how do I get into my class or how do I do this? It's really about what your end goal is. And what do you think faculty is important when the students, maybe they know kind of what they want to do, but they're really not sure? Like I've heard some people saying, oh, well, I'm interested in business, or I'm interested in nursing. And they just kind of have a goal in that area, but they don't necessarily go beyond. Sometimes they just have a general idea as to what they want, but they haven't really gone full in as to, oh, well, how does that actually work? How can the faculty really be a resource to the students when they're really trying to figure out their lives and their goals and how to make it work?
I might, if it's okay, I might jump in and talk about that. I have many students that will just come in my office and talk to me about, what they'd like to do. It's not unusual at all to not know 100% for sure what you want to do at this stage in your education. My first year, my second year in college, I didn't know for sure what I wanted to even major in. Okay. And of course, nowadays you have to declare a major and get on a degree plan and everything. If you have an idea of if you have 1, 2, maybe even 3 areas in which you're interested, you can take classes. And as you take your classes, you might find that you're more interested in one area versus another. That's not unusual. I always tell students, don't be discouraged if you don't know for sure what you want to be. As long as you have an idea, at CTC, it's the first 2 years. You take a lot of your basics. You are on a degree plan, but one of the good things about the courses here, for those of you that are going to be transferring, if you at least get your core curriculum courses out of the way, those courses are going to transfer for sure, guaranteed, the block of courses if you complete that core curriculum. So regardless of where you transfer in the state of Texas, you know that everything's going to transfer. We typically, I can speak for chemistry for sure because that's what I teach. We don't have an issue with our courses transferring because we follow all the guidelines by the state of Texas in terms of the learning objectives and everything. But I would encourage students, if you're not 100% sure, go and talk to the professors because they can share with you their experiences. They can kind of steer you in one direction or another, or give you information. There's a lot of resources on campus that you can use as well. Just don't be discouraged.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that. And that's something that a lot of, I think, students don't realize how much a faculty member can really be more than just somebody who teaches you some content. It can be more of a person that can guide you. I know that for me, when I was going through college, I still remember very fondly some of my faculty members, and I would go to them and say, hey, how do I do this? Come on, who's going to be teaching this class? Are you teaching this class? I want you to be teaching this class. But a lot of times, because you have a favorite one that you can go to. And part of what we do, it's when you get assigned a faculty member at the beginning of the semester or the first semester that you take classes that you can always refer to, even if you don't necessarily know who that is. And usually you get an email about that. So please be on the lookout again to your emails to see who is your point of contact on that. And if you have questions about it, you're always welcome to come talk to Student Success and Persistence in the Academic Studio, and they can help you figure out who you can talk to. Especially if you're one of those that I don't know who to talk to, who is a faculty member that I can talk to. They can help guide you to figure out a good person to guide you through this process. For faculty,
Mariceli, if I could, real quick,
yes,
one other thing.
please.
Also keep in mind, it's best to be flexible. Most of us don't go into college knowing what we're wanting to do. I did not want to be a geologist when I went in. I was actually going to go into business. I was going to be an accountant. I took accounting and I happened to take geology at the same time to fulfill general studies. Found that I loved geology and I switched majors. So just because you think you want to go one route, be open, look at the other classes you take, think about what you like, and if you find something you really love, don't be afraid to switch. Even if you can't switch here, just because you got one degree here doesn't mean when you go to the university you have to necessarily stay that route. You can switch. I've known people to get their bachelor's and then switch when they went and got their master's. So just because you went down one road doesn't mean you're locked in. You can change things if you need to. So be flexible and pay attention to all the classes, even the ones that you're taking just because you have to, because you may find that you really love it. And then if you do, again, talk to us because we can give you an idea of what the job market is like. We can give you ideas about where to go from there. What else do you need to do to get a degree in that to actually be able to make a living? And even though, yeah, we're teachers, and some people seem to think teachers are scary, we're not that scary. We're people just like you. We've got interests outside of here. Come and chat with us. We're not going to judge you. We're not going to think any less of you. We actually prefer that you come and talk to us so that we can help. Because if you don't say anything, again, we don't know what you need.
I will say that during the pandemic, I had faculty saying, I'm trying to reach my students. I call them, I email them, I try to figure out where they're at or what kind of help they need. And I don't know what else to do because they won't return my calls. They won't return my emails. And we really want to try to see if they're okay, if they need some help. I want to make sure that they pass their classes. We know that this is difficult for them. And they were just trying to get a hold of you guys as students. And they were having a hard time. So this is why it's so important. The faculty does care. The faculty does want to know what's going on with you. Now you're still going to have to do the work. They expect you to do the work. That's key, but that does not mean that they don't care. I want to thank really quickly all the faculty members for participating in the panel and giving us this great advice. I know some of you are going to try to stick around for a little bit, and if you can, great. And if not, I just want to say thank you for always being so good at being helpful to the students and participating in this event. Can't do it without you guys. So thank you for always being there for our students. I do want to kind of move on a little bit right now. We do have our next person on the list is our Director of Financial Aid. Her name is Pearl Creviston, and she is going to talk to you a little bit about financial aid, money, how to pay for classes, all that fun stuff that everybody wants to know about.
Good morning. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for coming and joining in with this session. You're going to learn a lot of information. A lot of what we talk about are questions that students have all the time. So what I'd like to do is just start off with one basic question that a lot of students are confused about. I applied for financial aid for the summer, but I don't see anything. So what typically happens at this time of year is the Department of Education opens up the FAFSA process in October every year for the following school year already. So it's very important that if you're trying to take summer classes, that the FAFSA you actually complete is from last year. That is the 21-22 FAFSA. And it is required because for CTC, our terms always start in the fall, continue into spring, and then roll over into summer. So if you did a 22-23 FAFSA, that is actually not even going to start until the August classes with the fall term. So just off the top, make sure you've done the correct FAFSA if you're trying to use financial aid for the summer term. Summer, it is 21-22. The other thing that we run into a lot at this time of year is year-round Pell requirements versus leftover Pell grants. So a lot of you have already completed your financial aid for the year. You already have your summer term funding sitting in your account. And for some reason, it's not transmitting even for your first class. So what that typically means is you were full-time in the fall, full-time in the spring, and you've been awarded what's called year-round Pell for the summer. The minimum requirement, if you were full-time fall and spring, in order to use any summer funding, is you have to be in 6 hours. So the second part of that question that confuses people is I am in 6 hours. I'm taking one class for 3 hours in summer one, and I'm taking the second class for 6 hours total in summer two. Well, what that means for financial aid is none of your Pell Grant is going to release until the start of that second class. So it's a very confusing for students and very important. If you are a student loan borrower or trying to use year-round additional Pell, you be in at least 6 hours, and typically you want to start those at the same time. So that's two of our biggest issues that we face in the summertime with financial aid is the funding isn't there, and I did a FAFSA, and it's because the wrong FAFSA was completed for summer. And none of the aid is releasing because you're not eligible until you're in 6 hours. Now, if you were a part-time student in the fall and a part-time student in the spring, your financial aid will release just like it did in fall and spring based on each number of credit hours that you have and also based on the total number and amount of aid that you're receiving. One of the things we just did this past Monday, and it's also confused a lot of students, is we ran what we call our financial aid academic standing process. What that does is at the end of each semester, we are required by Department of Education to determine if you're meeting academic standards. Did you pass your classes? Is your completion rate satisfactory? So a lot of students say, what is a satisfactory academic progress and what is a completion rate? A completion rate is a requirement of Title IV funding. And for instance, the easiest example is if you take 12 credit hours and you fail or you withdraw from 2 of those classes, that means you have a 50% completion rate and you may go on a warning for financial aid. If in any one term you fail or withdraw from all of the classes, then you could go on an automatic suspension for financial aid. Also, financial aid has its very own academic standing policy and procedure, and we count your classes differently than they do on the academic service side. And what I mean by that, your transcript determines what classes that you've taken and successfully completed, and it records those hours. So for instance, if you get an F in a class and you retake that class, for your transcript, that F is going to be replaced with the passed grade, the grade that you actually completed successfully. However, for financial aid, it counts both the F and the passed grade. So your Fs don't go away for financial aid. And that's another thing that students struggle trying to understand. So anytime you have a financial aid academic standing status that you don't understand, you want to reach out to us and let us explain to you exactly what it's going to take to recover and what the requirements are in order to keep your aid. We also have that on our financial aid website. So one of your best friends on the absolute financial aid information is go to the financial aid website. It has a wealth of information that a lot of students don't go and look at until they're starting to struggle or have problems. So I advise you, if you're receiving any type of financial aid, watch the financial aid website for any updates or any changes or any information that you're trying to find out. Another summer question that also comes up all throughout the term is, I've accepted my financial aid, I've been awarded, I'm registered in my classes. Why am I getting a message on student self-serve that says I'm ineligible for my aid? The ineligible message will appear anytime you are not in 12 credit hours each term. And all it means is either those classes haven't started yet, so we haven't released your aid, or, for instance, you've taken 12 credit hours, but you're taking 2 in the first summer session and 2 in the second summer session. And it says half your aid is ineligible. It's because you're getting paid financial aid for the first set of classes 10 days prior to the start of classes. It'll trigger the release of aid. And you're only in 6 hours technically right now. So you are truly ineligible for that second portion of aid until 10 days prior to the start of the second set of classes. So the financial aid has some messages in student self-serve, and we get a lot of phone calls about what does ineligible mean when I've been awarded and accepted my aid. Those are most of the issues that students come up with and talk to us about in the summer term. So for those of you that have never used financial aid, I'd like to just briefly say that financial aid is determined based on a FAFSA application process. That is for Title IV, which includes student loans, Pell Grant, and SEOG funding. It also affords student opportunity to apply for a job as a federal work study on campus. That's one of our programs that we are currently seeking applicants for. We need federal work studies who want to work part-time, earn a wage, and work right here on campus. So if you're interested in a federal work study program, please contact the financial aid office at financial.aid, and we will get information back to you to be able to apply and work right here on campus. We adjust your work schedule to your school schedule each semester while you're a student, which a lot of times students struggle if they have part-time jobs. They can't get their schedule changes because their classes change, but we will do that here in the financial aid office. You also have financial aid in other forms that don't come from the FAFSA, and those may be scholarships that you've been awarded. Right now, many of you have been awarded foundation scholarships already for the fall semester, and we're getting a lot of phone calls saying, my scholarship's not there yet. I wanted to use it for the summer. Those are not going to be awarded until the fall term. And that is the scholarship process. You get awarded ahead of time. They tell you which award you're going to have. And then we put those funds into your student account right before the fall term starts so that you have financial aid in the form of a scholarship to help pay for those classes. Some students ask if they can use scholarships and Pell Grant. Yes, they can. Can we use military benefits from the VA and Pell Grant? Yes, you can. So we determine your eligibility for financial aid, FAFSA applications, scholarships, grant aid, state aid, federal aid that we get are all processed through the financial aid office. If you have veterans benefits, typically what you will want to do if you're getting this from a parent, if you yourself are a veteran, you want to apply for a certificate of eligibility from the VA. Then bring that certificate to the school and turn that in order to help pay for your classes. It will let them know what benefits you have and how those benefits would be applied for which terms and which classes. So keep in mind, anytime you're receiving financial aid from Title IV or from the VA, you are going to be required to take classes that are on your degree plan. And they have to fit within that program of study that you are registered on. So if you've changed your mind and said, no, I don't really want to be on that degree plan, what a lot of times students will do is they got paid financial aid for nursing program, and then they've decided they don't like the sight of blood and they're not going to be a nurse and they don't ever want to do that again, and they change to business degrees. When they do that in the middle of the semester, that means those nursing classes are no longer required for your business degree, and it could cause your financial aid to pull back. So I caution students about changing your program often and changing it in the middle of a semester. If you have financial aid, you need to talk to us first. So I've covered a lot of different areas, and I realize that I am going to be participating in this WebEx throughout the entire morning. So any questions that you have, you can put those in the chat and I will be happy to answer those or give you contact information if I don't have the answer for you. But we welcome those of you that are brand new to CTC. I want to say welcome back to those of you that have been students already for a while, and say thank you very much for choosing Central Texas College. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Pearl. We do have had some questions come up in the chat that are relevant to you, so you might want to go back and look at them.
Okay.
Some of them have been about Hazelwood, as to others about why they might be denied their financial aid. Is there specific financial aid for felons or anything of that nature? So those are some of the things that I kind of noticed that kind of
Okay.
came.
I'm going to start with the financial aid for felons. You can receive financial aid if you have been convicted of a felony, or you cannot receive financial aid. Let me reiterate. If you have been convicted for a felony for possession of drugs while receiving financial aid, if that is not what your felon was for, then you are actually able to use financial aid right now. We have Hazelwood, which is through the Veterans Department, and I'm going to put that information in the chat as to who your contact is for that. You should have Hazelwood eligibility if you entered the military while as a resident in the state of Texas. So on your form when you went into the military, it should say that your resident state was Texas in order to use Hazelwood benefits. And then you would contact our VA department to process that. We actually have one individual right now that processes that, and I will put her information in the chat so that you can contact her for Hazelwood. Verification is one of the things that students are always most confused about, and it says you have to have some documents, clear a program of study. So if you've done that and contacted financial aid, you said it haven't heard back. What I'd need from you is, Lisa Marie, to send me an email and let me know what your information is as far as your student ID, so that I can look up your file and see if you need anything else and be able to respond to you privately. Okay, I don't want to answer those types of questions in the chat. but I put my contact information in there earlier. It is pearl.creviston@ctcd.edu. So email me directly with your student ID with any specific questions as they relate to your file so that we're not doing this in mass. We also have Foundation Office questions about scholarships. Scholarships are awarded by CTC from the Foundation Office. So if you have received one of those notifications that you've been awarded, what you're looking for is for that scholarship to appear on your student self-serve award notice. Once I award those scholarships, you'll be able to see it there. I've also
Okay.
noticed that in our chat, Lucette Brett just joined us, and she is the Associate Dean over the financial aid and VA, and I'm actually going to let her discuss Hazelwood, and I'll put in the contact information, but she can give you a little bit more information about that.
So can you just do a really, really brief, because we do have to kind of move on, but definitely if she could stay around, if she'll be here for the Q&A section at the end, we would love to address more of these questions.
Certainly. Any Hazelwood questions that you have, we have the links on our webpage on how to apply through the Texas Veterans Commission. And I'm happy to do that during the Q&A. I can make sure I get some things ready for everyone, okay?
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Very much. All right, now I would like to introduce Richard Lewis. He is one of our academic advisors and part of the Enrollment Services Department. And he's going to talk to you a little bit about academic advising and what you should be aware of.
Sure. So, hey, how's it going? Like Mary Shirley said, my name is Richard Lewis, academic advisor here at Central Texas College. Some of the things I wanted to talk about today would be our enrollment dates. So we do have a start date May 31st to begin our summer semester. For the students that are kind of new, that aren't ready for that start date, we do have other start dates in June and in July. And then we're going to have our August start date. Fall start date in August, excuse me. So on top of that, registration for the fall semester will begin June 6th. So if you haven't already talked to academic advising, I would definitely start doing that. Here, what we could do is take you through like a 5-point checklist, make sure you have everything situated um, for the summer, for the fall, or any future terms, you know. So we like to take a look at making sure that you've applied to the college, that you've submitted your bacterial meningitis shot records if you need to take face-to-face classes, and other residency information just to make sure you're cleared for enrollment and you have your appropriate tuition rate. After that, I like to look at students' degree plan, kind of get an idea what you want to do with your life. Depending on what program you pick, you might need TSI scores for that program. So that's something else that we do. We look at your TSI scores, let you know if you need developmental coursework. We can do that from your TSI scores, but if you have taken college classes at a different institution, we also look at your transcripts to see if we can get you exempt that way based on your coursework. After we kind of figured out all of that, we definitely want to know how you're paying for classes. So I'm glad that Pearl was able to give you some more information on financial aid. So definitely, you know, keep track of that financial aid, GI Bill. Make sure you're stating that you're using all those funding options so that we can, you know, educate you properly. And then after that, we do like to make sure we have you have access to certain platforms that we use, like Eagle Self-Service, so you can search and register for your classes. That's also where you can check your financial aid status, update your bank account information, do kind of all your student activities there. Then we also have an eTrieve portal where you submit student documents. So you may need to submit some additional tax information, or let's say your GPA drops and you need to submit an academic probation agreement. You know, we can make sure you have access to all those platforms to kind of make sure you can do all the things you need to do. Some other key points I wanted to mention is that we do have the academic advising office, but I'm going to share my screen real quick to give you guys our contact information. Let me know if you see this. Boom. So, excuse me. So our contact information is right here. You can contact us at academic.advising. You can give us a phone call. You may not be able to reach an advisor directly, but certainly give us your information, and your information will be passed on to us, and we'll give you a phone call, email, whatever you prefer to be contacted with. That's going to be for the students in our local area. For students outside of our local area, we do have the Eagles On Call Center, and their phone number and email address is right there. So let's say you're in Houston, or let's say you're an out-of-state student. You can contact them. They have flexible hours, so you can reach them at a lot of different times and get all the services you could that a local, student would be able to. For students doing some non-traditional programs like welding, automotive, building trades, perhaps, we have our Kate Center advisors. So they're going to be the ones who are going to help you out with enrollment into those courses, and their phone number and contact information is right there. So I will also stick around too if you guys have some additional questions. I don't know if any came into the chat just yet. But that's just a little bit of what we do. We kind of make sure that you guys are prepared for your future semesters. And if you have any questions, we're here to assist and advise you on the appropriate actions afterwards.
Hey, Richard, I do think we did get a few questions. Like one of the questions is, do they get assigned a specific advisor?
So we have a variety of advisors in our office. I think we have at least 7 right now. We do break them down by alphanumeric. So like I might be in charge of D's, F's, so on and so forth. But there's always going to be somebody here to advise you. So let's say you come in, you talk to a certain advisor, or you want to talk to me specifically, you can always request who you want to speak to, and depending on availability, you might be able to get that, preference. But yeah, there's always going to be somebody here to assist you. So we do have people designated to your account. But of course, you can always express your preference and who you want to speak to.
And I know we got a question about vaccines that are required for face-to-face class. I believe it's just the bacterial meningitis. But if you wouldn't mind posting the link for them to get information about that in the chat, we'd appreciate it.
For sure. In addition to that, so if you need to submit bacterial meningitis shots, that would prevent you from registering for face-to-face classes. However, if you just wanted to do online classes, that is something we can allow, because you're not having any, face-to-face interaction with anybody. But no, certainly, I would definitely get that link and post it in the chat for you guys, okay?
And Richard, would you mind just putting all of the advising email addresses that you put that sign up in the chat as well for us?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you.
No problem.
There was another question. Who do you contact for TSI help?
You can reach out to academic advising. What we can do is let you know if you need TSIs, like I was mentioning, based on your degree plan. There's certain exemptions and waivers that we offer, so we can definitely inform you on all of that. If you do have TSI scores, you can definitely submit those to us. And then what we can do from there is review them and let you know what classes you placed into, and what your developmental coursework track would look like.
Can you also discuss a little bit about how students enroll for classes? Because there are some that might have some questions, at least briefly overview of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's another thing. If you look at that email us and we'll send you a walkthrough guide. But basically what you're going to do is get on the Eagle self-service, like I mentioned, and it is a 2-step process, kind of like online shopping. You got to go search for your class, you got to add it to your schedule, but then you do need to go to your schedule and confirm that's the class you want. So as you're searching for classes, you can add as many as you like, and what it will do is populate on a schedule. And if there's times that are conflicting or anything like that, it will express that to you. So like it'll come up in red or something, and you can make the adjustments as you need to there. But that'd be the main thing. It's a 2-step process. You got to search for your class and add it to your schedule, but then go back to your schedule and just confirm that is the class that you'd like. And to make it a little bit easier, there's also a My Progress feature on Eagle Self-Service. So it shows you the requirements for your degree plan and all the classes that will satisfy it. So if you see a class that you like, you can click on it from right there and get some more information on the different times and days that it's available.
Can you talk a little bit about, because sometimes people have holds, like you said with the meningitis, what that looks like and kind of how that would populate, or if they're having an issue, they went ahead and they scheduled their classes, they're trying to actually hit that submit button so that everything's ready to go, and then it pops up saying, oh, you have you can't register because of TSI
Yeah.
or meningitis or something like that.
For sure. So Eagle Self-Service is real good at kind of informing you on what's going on. So when you first get in there, it does let you know about that bacterial meningitis requirement. So that's one of the first things that you'll see. And a lot of those are just disclaimers. So if you're not going to sign up for face-to-face class, you can disregard it and continue moving forward. when you are picking your classes, there are requirements that are listed on there. So it may say TSI completion is required, so on and so forth. So as you try to add that to your schedule, you might get a yellow sign that pops up that says, hey, TSI is required. Now, if you go to your schedule and you try to register that class after I gave you that warning, it might actually come up in red and say, and just prevent enrollment into that. And at that point, you can follow up with our office and we can let you know what to do to get past that. But again, Eagle Self Service is real good at letting you know before it happens, what might happen. So if it happens, just contact us and we can get you past it. Any other questions, perhaps? And I'm sorry, if you're speaking, I can't hear you. I don't know if it's mine.
Thank you. No, it's me.
No, there we go. Okay.
We do have a question a little bit about like if they're military and some of those waivers for the TSI. I know you said to contact you guys.
Yeah, I can talk about it right now.
Mhm.
So real quick, so for military, if you are prior military and you have a DD 214, and you have at least an honorable discharge status, so it can't be dishonorable, anything like that. If you provide us with the member 4 copy of that DD 214, we can give you a TSI exemption. So what that would allow you to do is immediately register for classes that require TSI, like English or math. If you are active duty, you can provide us something like a current LES that shows your active duty status, and what you're provided at that point is a military waiver. So after you get out the military, then you can get that exemption on your account. But while you're active duty, you're only waived, so that's temporary. So depending on your discharge status, that can either go from needing TSI to being TSI exempt. So those are the things we look for with the military as far as exemptions and waivers. And also, real quick, I've had some students who are waived and exempt, but they kind of understand themselves and they ask about developmental classes. You can still take developmental classes. We would just have you take the assessment before we just put you in developmental classes to see what level you truly need. But yeah, if you know yourself and you understand that you've been out of college for a while and you do need a math class or something of that nature, if you wanted to, you could jump straight into it. But we definitely always accept that TSI assessment and will place you in the appropriate developmental classes.
Perfect. We have a few dual enrolled students or STEM or something like that, and they want to know how do they know for a fact they've already been registered, and then if they have to pay for the class, how do they do that? Because some dual enrolled pay out of pocket, some of them the high school or the district pay takes care of it. So kind of how to do that.
No, for sure. With dual credit early enrollment, I'm always going to suggest talking to your high school counselor and getting familiar with the process and getting involved as well. Don't just let them do stuff for you. Understand what's going on, because that's one way you can figure out if you're enrolled in the classes. Another way is checking your Eagle Self-Service portal, because that's where you can see all the classes you're enrolled for or what you have planned. As far as payment goes, I want to say, like you mentioned, that some of the dual credits are paid for already. But you definitely want to contact your high school counselor to understand what type of setup you have. If you're one of those students, and to my knowledge, if those dual credit students decide to take classes in the summer, I think at that point they are responsible for payment themselves. But these are just things you would, again, talk to your high school counselor about to be for sure. But you can always reach out to us as well, because you are college students, so we'll treat you the same way.
Thank you very much, Richard. I really appreciate your help. You have given us a lot of great information. I think we touched on a lot of the different kinds of students that you deal with, but we haven't touched on all of them. We have a great variety of students that need assistance with very different needs and the populations and requirements just to be able to be in class. So it is very difficult sometimes for us to figure out how to, just give you a blanket answer to everything. And I know it sounds like, well, contact us is one of those things that is like, oh, really? Okay, but can't you just give me an answer? But please understand that we have a lot of different populations that we serve that each have their own little niche, their own little thing. And so we try to give you the best answer that we can in general. But for details, we really want to make sure that you reach out and we can make sure that we're giving you the information that is specific to your situation and need. Richard is going to hang out for a little bit and help answer some questions in the chat and then also in the Q&A. So I want to thank you for that. And we're going to be hearing from him in a little bit more. And if you have more questions, please definitely include that into the chat. But I am going to move on. Right now, I want to introduce our Chief of Police, Chief Joseph Barragan. He is our main safety officer here on the campus, making sure that we're as safe as we can be. And so I want to say thank you for being here, Chief. And I know you have your PowerPoint and I have it ready for you.
Okay. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Central Texas College. Like Ms. Santiago said, my name is Joe Barragan. I'm the Chief of Police here. Yeah, she smiles because I got her name right.
You did, you did.
So basically what I'm going to cover is just some of the stuff that we are, like who we are as police officers, the police services that we provide. That includes the police officers and our safety officers. I'll touch on clearly in Title IX, your rights and responsibilities as students of CTC, the emergency alert system that we have that I hope all of you will register in. And then we'll talk about campus carry. Can you carry on campus? And then the last thing, which is very in the forefront of a lot of our minds, is campus safety. What do we do to protect ourselves in case there's an active shooter or an active attack on campus? And we do offer that acronym of avoid, deny, defend. So who we are, we go to the next slide as far as kind of like adds a little humor. So people look at us, and I've had individuals who have been given tickets like, why is a police officer give me a ticket? You can't give me a ticket. And next thing you know, they're paying $300 with a JP because they ran a stop sign or they were speeding. So all of us, as we go to the next slide, are police officers for the state of Texas. We all have attended a police academy. A lot of our officers have actually gone here to CTC and gotten their peace officer license here at CTC. So if any of you are out there want to be a police officers, we have that. We have the course for you to take. And right now, not only in Texas, but across the United States, we do need men and women as police officers. But right now, I'm short 3 officers, so and it's hard to fill those positions. So if you're interested and want to talk more about law enforcement, please come and talk to me as far as what to do. So we are licensed through the state of Texas. What makes us unique is that we actually have jurisdiction and arrest powers both within Bell County and Correll County. CTC is actually in both counties, and that's how we actually get those jurisdictions. The next slide is we'll talk a little bit about our police services. So anything, of course, we always get calls. We're available 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. I want you to remember that number because that number is our direct line to our police department. You'll always reach a police officer or our dispatcher or even me because I answer the phone often here at the office. But that number, if you need any services, so such as you locked your keys in your vehicles, will help you get your key out, unlocking your vehicle, and then we'll do jump starts. We'll help you with your flat tire. We can do escorts in case you have an ex that you're worried about. We will make sure that you get to campus and to your vehicle safely and always be there. That happens once in a while here on campus. So we'll do the escorts, okay? Lost and found, if you ever lose a book or you ever lose any item, sweaters, and we have people lose their earbuds and all the time. We have them here. So, and then of course, first aid. So to actually park here on CTC, you need a parking permit. So I tell everybody the parking permit is $100, but that's incorrect. It's actually free, okay? So you don't have to pay nothing. But what you need your vehicle registration. We have to show that your registration is current. Second, we need your driver's license and then your CTC ID. And you fill out the paperwork. It's just one simple form with the information. And then we'll give you a parking permit, which is good as long as you're a student here at CTC. So the next slide, we talk about the Clary. Jean Clary was a student who was sexually assaulted and murdered many years ago. So because of that, her parents became advocates and wanted to know what we as campus authorities, as campus police officers, were doing to make our schools safe. And so some of the things that we do is that everything that we do here, as far as any crimes, we collect it, we report it, and we publish an annual report every year. We keep a daily crime activity log here. So if you ever want to come to our office, we'll tell you this is what's going on right now at this moment. And then we issue timely warnings and emergency notifications in case there is something that we need to do to let you know that, hey, something's going on. That's why it's important that you register under the Eagle Alert. So timely warning is basically something that, hey, there's an incident happening on Clear Creek, it may impact our things like that. Emergency notification is, hey, we actually have something going on our campus, whether it be an active attack, whether it be a tornado approaching us, we'll let you know. And it can also be something like, hey, there is no class because we have no heat in the building. So make sure we do that. Register. That I always want to encourage you to register for that. That on the bottom screen, there's that Texas Safety U app. If you're going to another institution, like to finish off your bachelor's or your master's, your doctorate, you can actually go to that app and it'll tell you, you can do the same thing I'm talking about as far as the crime and the safety programs that they have on their campus. You can actually download the app and it'll have everything in the state of Texas as far as that. So the next slide is where we're going to get a little touchy, okay? So as far as the student code of conduct, I always tell everyone, know what rights and responsibilities you have. There is a student code of conduct, read it. And a lot of you probably won't read it and say, I don't need to worry about that. Read it just because there's certain things that you have to know about it. We have several policies. We have a zero tolerance policy for drugs and for alcohol abuse and any acts of violence, sexual assault. So those are the things that you have to be aware of, and not only aware of, but should you become a victim, please, I want to encourage you to seek help, whether it's from us, whether it's through Dr. Mahone Lewis and her office, or through Student Success and Persistence. We are here to help you in anything that you're going through, whether it is occurring on campus or off campus. Please get with us, and so we can point you in the right direction, and more than anything, help you and listen to you. So violations of the law, those will automatically be recorded for us. So um, hopefully no one gets arrested. I do tell everybody that if you get a ticket, and I'm talking more like just as the P citation, come and talk to me and I will give you a warning. So in other words, you're not going to pay your $300 for speeding and all that, but I'm going to talk to you about that and give you a warning for that one. Most of our officers are really proactive, and they will give you a verbal warning. And let me correct that. It's a written warning. They have to give you a written warning. We don't do verbal warnings anymore, so it has to be a written warning. So I know last year we gave over 75 the traffic stops that we had, the motor vehicle contacts that we had were written warnings. Written warnings. So the next slide talks about the Eagle emergency alert. So I'm telling you why we're going to do it. So the next slide actually gives you the specifics of what you have to do. So I'll give you a few minutes so you can look at that and what you need to actually register. Now remember, you can put multiple email addresses and phone numbers. put as many as you want. You can put yours, you can put your parents, you can put your significant others, you can put all your siblings if you want to. That way, everybody knows what's going on, and at least they can tell you, hey, we got an alert for this, or, but please don't don't uh, don't ignore this one, especially because if school is canceled and you show up, you're like, oh darn, nobody told me. Well, we would send out the alert for that. So, and this will be available, I think, afterwards, the slides. So you can, if you missed this or whatever, we can do that. So the next slide has to do with campus carry. Basically, here on CTC, if you meet the qualifications, like in other words, you have to be over 21 years of age, you have to have a license to carry. I need to stress that you have to have a license to carry. I know that last year they passed legislation that you can have open carry now, and you don't need a license. However, on campuses, on universities, colleges, you need your license to carry, or else you'd be in violation of the law. And it has to be concealed. So you can't just come up here and say, well, the law says it's open carry. No, it has to be concealed, and you have to be a license holder. So there are some locations here on campus that are prohibited, or we call them gun-free zones. You cannot even conceal carry in those locations. That would include the early colleges, the child care facilities, the child development building, any of the mental health care locations, and any event that is a sporting or interscholastic event. So, and then of course, we do have dorms here on campus, and we do have a resident students living on campus. You cannot uh, uh, carry in your as a student in your room. So the last slide I want to cover is, of course, we all know the unfortunate incident that happened in Uvalde, and where 19 babies were murdered by the monster, including 2 professors, 2 teachers, 4th grade teachers. But one of the things I always want to stress is that we do have a course available for anybody that wants to take it. We do offer it to the classrooms if the professor wants to. It's called the Civilian Response to Active Shooter Events. You can go to Texas State Safety Center and you can look at this course, and you can take it on your own if you want to. But what this does is it gives you, the civilian, an actual plan of what to do. So of course they use the acronym of ADD, which is avoid, deny, defend. So one of the things, if you do hear shots being fired, you avoid the situation, go the opposite direction. Sometimes you cannot avoid it, so you have to deny the shooter or the attacker. How do you do that? You simply lock your classroom door. You simply, do whatever put barricades, you put things to keep them from coming to your area. And then the last one would be a personal choice, but to defend. I do talk to the military or those that have uh, your license to carry and you do have a concealed carry, please stay in the classroom. And the reason I say this is because unless it's immediately in front of you, the reason I tell you not just to make sure you take care of your classroom, protect your classroom, is because as law enforcement responds, they're going to see you and they don't know who you are. They're just going to see someone in plain clothes and with a gun. So just protect your classroom, unless you happen to be there in the hallway at that very moment before law enforcement arrives. Because once law enforcement arrives, then everyone is going to be considered a threat. Um, all our officers are trained to neutralize the shooter, to go after the shooter. So we understand that that's what we're going to do. But please, if you remember anything about my presentation, is I add the avoid, deny, defend. And there's a video online. We'll give you the class if you want the class for your classrooms, or you can come in person and I'll give it to you, or one of my officers will give it to you, or you can go on the Texas State Safety Center and take the course on your own just to see what strategies are. And it's a pretty comprehensive program, a presentation that tells you the history of the shooter and the things that happen. I mean, if you see something, say something. If you see someone in social media posting something, please let us know right away. Because a lot of times they will tell us that, or tell someone what they're going to do. Um, and again, just my concern is always your safety and to protect you. But there's things that I'm asking you also to help us to keep you safe. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you all and welcome, and God bless you all. And my office is open. If you ever need to talk to me or chit chat about anything, if you hate police officers, come talk to me. We'll talk about it. We can even go to the pond we have down here. We can go fishing and we can talk, and then we'll discuss whatever's your concern here at CTC or policing. Thank you all, and God bless you.
Hey,
Hey.
Maricela and Chief, can you guys put up the emergency alert link for the students again? Because we've gotten a couple of questions in the chat about that.
Sure.
And
All of you, I
put
would
that?
can everybody just kind of take a moment? I'm going to put it up real quick and get it ready to either take a picture or a screenshot. If you really are interested in it, just kind of get ready. I'm going to share it. And my favorite reason for this emergency alert, not so much right now, but in the winter, if it's cold and it's freezing, we get that text around 6 o'clock in the morning. And I know that that means that instead of me getting up, I just get my blanket, scroll around. We don't have to come into work. Woohoo! That's my favorite reason. Thank you for those of you that I know. I just saw somebody saying that they needed to go because they have to go to work. I understand. Just check it all out at YouTube. Later on, we will all this whole presentation is going to be put on YouTube later on, and also it's being streamed currently in Facebook as well. If that's something else that might be an option, and will be available on Facebook later.
CTC has switched from WebAdvisor, so where it says WebAdvisor on the screen, it's Eagle Self-Service now. Same steps, just use Eagle Self-Service instead.
Thank you, Morgan.
Thank you, and I need to correct that. Thank you, Morgan.
All right, so we're going to keep going. I don't see Larry here, so I'm going to keep talking, and it's going to be my part. Yay! Again, it's my turn to talk. My name is Maricela Santiago. I'm the Director of Student Life and Activities, and I am going to talk about student rights, responsibilities, and resources. Part of the reason that I'm the one talking about this is that I work hand in hand with Chief Barragan and a few other people on campus, because I'm also the main conduct officer for the campus. So if there's a situation with a student that happens and we need to address it, then I'll be part of that, and I will look at it and see what's going on, why is it happening, and how do we need to address it with the student or with somebody else. So there's some things that every student needs to know, and this goes really hand in hand with everything that Chief has talked about. As a student, there are rights and responsibilities, like he said, and there are some expectations that you need to have, that we have of you. And regardless, and this is regardless of your age, regardless of who you are, if you are a CTC student, we expect you to maintain this, period. Which the first one is that you need to advocate for yourself. At this level, this is not like high school where you can have your parents come in and say, oh, why did you give my child this grade? Or why is my child in trouble? Or what do I need to do to help my child? It is not up to your parents or your spouses or anybody else. It is up to you as a student to advocate for yourself, talk to your instructors, or talk to other people that can be the ones to help you actually resolve a situation, figure out answers, and so forth. Even if you are a minor, we still expect you to act like an adult. I know we have some dual credit students and they are considered minors by age, but again, we will treat you like an adult. We will have conversations with you just like we would with an adult because you are in a college campus. The expectation is that you are going to be treated like an adult. So keep that in mind. And if you, for some reason, are a parent of one of these students and you're watching, which I hope you are, please understand that we cannot talk to you, and this is where FERPA comes in. FERPA is the federal law that states that the student has his or her own academic record and that we cannot talk to somebody outside, like we can only talk to the student about their academic and their conduct issues. If for some reason the student decides that they want somebody else, like a family member, a spouse, a parent, anybody like that, to have that information, we have to get that in writing. And we have to have it in writing before we give out any kind of information to anybody other than the student. Syllabus, I think the faculty really mentioned this a lot, but we will reiterate it because it's that important. You have to read your syllabi, you have to follow the instructions, and if for some reason you really don't know what's going on or you don't understand something in it, you need to contact your faculty member and really talk to them about what your options are. This is not like high school. They don't offer, oh, turn it in whenever, you can make it up or extra credit. That's not how that works. Usually basically the syllabus is considered a contract between the faculty and the student, and that's what they're going to hold you to. And that's what you as a student will hold the faculty member to. But the faculty have been doing this a long time, and so they really spread and put a lot of information in there to make sure that they don't miss anything important and that you as a student don't miss anything that's important. So please, please, please make sure that you are looking at this and that you're following it. Attendance is key. I think Dean Starkey mentioned this before, but again, it's so important. We're going to repeat it. If you don't come to class, if you don't follow up with your faculty members, if you don't log into your online classes, there's no way that you're going to be able to pass your class. You need to make sure that you're attending all your classes, whether they're in person or not, that you're logging into your Blackboard if you're in an online class, and that you're participating in it. Because participation in Blackboard in an online class, maybe you're not talking the way that we're talking right now, but you have to do posts. You're going to ask you to do certain things, and you have to complete those things. Integrity is key. That means that you're going to be honest and responsible for all your coursework. It is really, at this level, you cannot have other people do your work for you. It's really never been a thing, but at this level, we really enforce it. You need to be the one doing your work. You need to be the one responsible for it. If you have, for some reason, somebody helping you with it that could actually affect you, and especially if it's considered in any way that you are either copying your work or that the integrity of your work is affected. So please, 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 that could actually cost you your class, a grade in your class, or the whole class grade. Civility, oh my God. Okay, so we need to make sure that we are being kind to everybody, that we are being responsible with how we talk to people and respectful. And that really means your faculty, your students, your other administrative staff here on campus, the facilities here, that you follow the rules, that you're aware of them. Even if you don't agree with your faculty or an administrator, that you follow through and you have a conversation that is that does not include things like curse words or that it's combative. It's more along the lines of what we expect from an adult. Hey, I'm having this situation I don't understand. How can we talk about it in a way that is going to be productive so that we can resolve the issue? That's what we want from you. That's civility. Make sure you follow all your college guidelines and procedures. No cheating, no plagiarism, no disruption of class, all of that. That can actually affect your ability to stay in class. Unfortunately, if you don't do these things, depending on your conduct and all of that, you can actually get in trouble. And that could be either a warning, it could be a probation, it could be a suspension, or even expulsion. We really, really don't want to have to deal with that. I deal with that for non-academic reasons. And that means behavior in classrooms, behaviors not following the rules and the law. All of that can get you in trouble. I recently had a student that contacted me, and it has been years since this student got in trouble and was expelled. The student now has their life together. They did things correctly. They're figured life out. Now they want to come back to school. And unfortunately, I had to tell the student, I'm sorry, but you were expelled. You can never come back to CTC. It breaks my heart because I know that that person, I could hear it in their voice that they have their act together. They learned their lesson. They're ready to come back and be responsible student. And unfortunately, I have to tell them no. Another thing that happens is I get people that do background checks for jobs, and they'll contact me and say, hey, did this student ever have a conduct issue? And of course, you have to, as a student, give permission in writing to do that. But sometimes that could actually affect your ability to get that job that you want once, you mature and you get a better. If you're in the military and you want a security clearance, they may contact us and say, hey, this student, this person took class and we're trying to get him a security clearance. Do you have any conduct issues with this person? And we have to then discuss that with them. Hopefully that's not something that you're going to deal with, that I'm not going to deal with, or anybody here, but we want to make sure that you understand how important it is that you act and react appropriately to situations. There has been something that has happened, especially after the pandemic, where individuals have been very emotional in their responses to situations and to stress and to crises. We understand that there have been very difficult times and that the students and the people that come to our college actually may be going through some things. Let's have a decent civil conversation as to how to help you figure out how to become a better student. That is really, really important for us, and we want to do that. But let's do it before you're stressed out to the point where you are not going to be able to maintain civility. Make sure that we can help you. There are certain things that we can do. We have resources available to help you and figure out how to become a successful student without getting to the point of, oh my God, now you're in trouble and we're trying to, now I have to deal with you because you're in trouble, and also try to figure out how to help you be successful in your college and in life. Let's do that from the beginning. Let's have a conversation before it becomes a problem, so that way we avoid that other portion of it. Title IX, you've heard this from Chief, and you're probably going to hear,
Excuse me,
hear
your
it from the
signal
event.
going in and out.
Hello? Are you all not able to hear me well?
No, we can hear you.
Okay.
Your connection is like up and down.
Okay, thank you. All right, so the other Title IX for us, this is something that has to do with sexual misconduct, which could potentially include things like rape or sexual assault and things of that nature. As at the college here, we want to support anybody who has been a victim and that might need some assistance, whether it happened in college or outside of the college. We want to make sure that you are aware that we have services and ways of helping you. That can include campus police, but not necessarily. It just depends on, the situation and what you as a victim might be interested in doing. But we want everybody to go ahead and let us know if there is something going on, because we want to be able to address it and support you through a difficult time. And so please let us know if that is the case. I am going to say you are welcome to contact me as a director of student life and activities. You've also met Dean Starkey. She might be a point of contact. Campus police is also a point of contact. Just because you talk to them does not mean that you're getting anybody in trouble. A lot of times we just want to make sure that we give you all the options and let you know what are some of the resources that are available for you, including campus police. And that really goes into resources. And there's a lot of resources here on campus that are free for students. That could include things like tutoring, mental health assistance, or how to write, or not how to write a paper, a research paper, assistance with doing that. The library can help you figure out how to do it. And then they might even, once you write it, they might give you some feedback. Actually, there's a lot of free things that we have for you, and you can start using them day one. Of course, you're probably not going to have like a ton of homework the first day of class, but what we recommend that you do is you actually come out here and check it out. Say, hey, I may not need tutoring right now, but let me go up there and see where that tutoring location is. And let me meet some of the people and the tutors, because I know for a fact I'm not good at the math portion. So let me go and introduce myself and let me see if, you know, how this works. So that way, whenever I do need assistance, I know where to go and who to talk to. Yes, sorry, okay. So along with all of that, we have a student handbook. It is online, and it talks a little bit again about academic misconduct, which has those things like plagiarism, cheating, etc. Non-academic misconduct that can include like classroom disruptions, fighting, harassment, damaging property. And then Title IX, of course, like I said, sexual misconduct. Here are the links for all of that in the student handbook. We also have the college catalog that gives you a lot of the information as to like what the different degree plans are, what are the requirements for the degree plans, how can you make that kind of stuff work. If you, for some reason, have a complaint about any situation on campus as a student and you want to have it addressed, you're welcome to go ahead and fill out a form. There's an online complaint form that you can fill out, and we will forward it to the supervisor of the area that has the complaint so that it can be looked at and addressed, and they will get back to you. And then we also have a form that we have if you want to report sexual misconduct in a way, and maybe you don't necessarily want to talk to somebody right away, or you know, you just want to write it down and just get the information down on paper. We do have that form available. You are welcome to just take a picture of this, and we're going to have some resource listings coming up too. So for those of you that like taking pictures or just taking screenshots, this is one of those. This one and the next one are two slides that would be really, really good for you to take a picture of or a screenshot. More resources. We have what we call student success and persistence. You have heard that. That includes the academic studio, which is where we have tutoring, the career services, where they can actually help you how to figure out how to do resume writing, how to do mock interviews. They have a career closet where they can help lend you clothes for your interviews. And then they also have a job board, among other services. Disability support services, you're going to talk to them a little bit, and they can help you if you have a qualifying disability, and they can help you navigate college. Student life and activities, that's me. We oversee clubs, organizations. We have activities here on campus. We have a student lounge in the main campus. And we oversee the ambassador programs as well. Let's see. And then residence hall, if you need a place to live and you're here on our central campus or want to come take classes in our central campus or even in Fort Hood, and you need a place to live, we are welcome to come and hang and live here in the residence hall. And that is all part of what we call student success and persistence. You will have a faculty member assigned to you based on the academic department that you said that you're interested in taking your classes. If you put, I don't know what I want to do when I grow up, they're still going to be assigned a faculty member. But if you're not sure how to get a hold of that faculty member or who that person might be, you're welcome to contact the academic studio and they will help you figure out who that is. CTC police, you got to meet Chief Barragan. They really want to make sure that the police get to know you and that you get to know them. They want you to feel comfortable talking to them about any circumstances that may be going on with regards to you, your family, or anything that you might need to discuss with about security and safety. And sometimes they just want to know who you are just to make sure that you're doing okay in general. Student and employee assistant program, that is where you can get actually free mental health assistance. It is free to all the students, and just the fact that you're coming to college and it's a brand new experience, that actually will be enough to give you stress and anxiety, and that's enough to have a big major life change. And sometimes you just need to talk about it and figure out how to handle that situation. And that is a service that we have for all of our students. It could be either in person or it can also be virtual. And so that's something. Sometimes I've had students, for example, that they've had a loved one die in the middle of a semester and they don't know how to handle that situation. That is another great way. That's another way of having to talk to someone, and it's free. Free, 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 free. Kind of like the commercial, free, 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 free. Um, Library, I mentioned, they have they have, oh my God, they have so many resources if you have to do research. Actually, they they have these databases that I have actually just for fun gone in there and looked because, you know, if you want to do research like in your genealogy, you can do that. Just for fun, they have movies in there that sometimes they can show. Or, you know, if you really need to find out information, they have great database. They're really all about also helping you figure out how to do your schoolwork, so they will support you in any way that they can. So please go check out your librarians. They are online and in person. They're really here to help you. Tutoring, we offer it online, and then we also offer it in person. So those are options. There is no excuse for you to say, oh, but I can't get tutoring. Nope, well, you can do it from home or you can do it here on the campus regardless, on Central Campus. It doesn't matter where you're located. We have tutoring for you. You just have to schedule it ahead of time. There's other student services like academic advising, financial aid, veterans benefits, registration. We met some of those today. So there's a lot. They're here to help you. So definitely come check it out. And then last but not least, we have a gym where if you want to kind of check out information and if you really want to get to know more people, you're welcome to. The gym will give you the opportunity to stretch out, work out with other people. They have intramural sports. I know that they're about to start dodgeball as an intramural sport, and they're looking to add, you know, other things in the near future: basketball, volleyball, indoor soccer, etc. There's a whole listing of resources in the campus and in the communities, and that's in that webpage, website right there. So you're welcome to, again, take a screenshot of that so you can reference it in the future. And if you don't know and you can't remember, you're also welcome to call or email the Student Success and Persistence area, and they'll give you some answers. Now I just kind of want to have Dr. Christy Schenk. She oversees our disability support services. If she can just tell you a little bit about disability support services and some of the services that they offer.
Okay, thank you, Mariceli. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. As Mariceli stated, I am Dr. Christy Schenk, Director of Disability Support Services, and we have a disability office located here on campus in the Student Services Building. It's Building 215. We have disability coordinators available in offices 110 and 109. What we can do is help students who have disabilities with classroom accommodations. In order to qualify for accommodations, you would have to have a disability under ADA. That means you would have to have a physical, mental, or a health condition that impairs a significant life activity. If you can see on the slide, there's different activities there, such as walking, standing, learning, reading. If you have a significant impairment with that and have documentation of a disability, I encourage you to come see us so we can find a way to assist you with accommodations. You would have to self-identify to us. We do not seek out students at the college level. So if you have a disability and you have documentation, please come see us. We are available for in-person appointments, virtual visits, and phone appointments. And you can see our website is listed there. And if you go to our website, we have instructions on how to access our student intake forms, specific documentation requirements. And our phone numbers are also listed there, and those are the phone numbers to our coordinators. So if you need any assistance from us, please feel free to stop by and visit. We are here to help. I am here for the Q&A session if there's any specific questions you have about our services.
Thank you very, very, very much, Dr. Schenk.
No, you're welcome,
And
Araceli.
We're excited. Yes, a lot of individuals just don't know how to start the process. And, of course, what we offer is a little bit different than maybe what you might be used to in the high school. So please to reach out to them so that you can make sure you have the most up-to-date information. If you need to get a hold of Dr. Shank, this is her contact information. And Julie Starkey, she is the Dean of Student Success and Persistence. You're welcome to reach out to either one of them if you have any questions. And so again, screenshot those for those of you that do screenshots or take pictures. And I'm going to now also give you, if you have questions or concerns, this is a way that you can reach a hold of my department, Student Life and Activities, or the Student Success area. These are two different emails that you can reach out to, and somebody will get back to you. We check it often to make sure that we can give you the answers that you need. There's going to be a lot of things. I know we threw a lot at you guys today, and we want to make sure that you have the opportunity to, hey, if I don't have this here, then let's go back over here so that we can get answers in the future. And that is one way you can reach out to some of the individuals that you met today. And you can also contact the departments, and we will go ahead and answer any questions. And now we're going to come into the Q&A portion of the event. I know it's a little bit early, but I think we have a lot of that will give us extra time to answer any questions that maybe we have not yet addressed. So does anybody have any questions? And I have not been able to be looking at the chat, so I might need some help with this to see what else we might actually need to discuss or go over that maybe we haven't.
I got a couple of questions about the residence hall.
Okay.
And so if it's okay, I just want to quickly address the residence hall in case anybody's interested. It is Morton Residence Hall. You do have to have, you have to be enrolled full-time in order to reside in the residence hall. We will accept online classes, face-to-face classes as part of that enrollment process. We also will accept you being in part of the CAPE program that comes and goes. It has you can start at any time and leave at any time, and we will work with you on that issue. I did get some questions. Our residence hall, it's not family housing, it's just for the student himself. So you cannot move in with a spouse, you cannot move in with a child or anything like that. The residence hall experience does also provide a meal plan, but that meal plan is only available Monday through Friday. There are no weekend meals, so do bear that in mind. You would have to provide your own meals on the weekends, just to bear that in mind. I will put, if anybody has questions and is wanting to get more information about living on campus and go through the application process, our residence hall director is Victoria McGee, and I will put her contact information in the chat so that anybody can reach out specifically to her that might have specific questions. There is an application process that you have to go through. You do have to go through a criminal background check with her. And you also it is one of the requirements, not only for face-to-face classes, but also to live in the residence hall. You do have to have the bacterial meningitis vaccination in order to do that. And so just wanted to address that.
Thank you. Yes, that is something that maybe a lot of you are maybe not everybody needs, but I know that sometimes we do have some programs specifically that are very popular, maybe even to people outside of our region, and they may need a place to stay, and this is pretty convenient. I will say also with gas prices right now, living in the on campus and going to school on campus, it might make it worth it. It definitely a factor for a lot of students, especially if you don't have transportation. That is something that can be very helpful. I did see something about transportation saying, hey, if I'm taking classes in the summer and I don't have a vehicle, how do I get here? And I was wondering if maybe Morgan can kind of talk a little bit about the program that she oversees that helps with that.
Why, of course I can. So My name is Morgan Powell. I run 3 assistance programs for CTE individuals. CTE individuals are those in the career and technical education field or degree plans. That would include things like welding, diesel mechanics, nursing, a couple of the computer science degrees count. Those ones I have to look out for because some of them don't count. If you have questions on if you qualify, go ahead and just email me or call me. I'll put my stuff in the chat and I'll be happy to look at your stuff. But I run 3 programs. I have the textbook lending, which you can receive your books for free at the beginning of the semester as long as you return them. You can get childcare assistance, which you can get a monthly childcare stipend for up to 3 children as long as you qualify. And to qualify, you do have to be enrolled in 12 credit hours or clinicals. And then for the 3rd program, which relates a lot to the transportation question, I do have a transportation assistance program where you can receive a HOP voucher for the semester. It's once a month. You have to come and get a new HOP voucher, but it gives you unlimited rides, so you can get to and from campus. There's a lot of requirements. You do have to be in an approved degree plan. You have to have a 2.0 GPA or more. Since most of you guys are going to be in your first semester, that will be waived as long as you do not have a GPA. If you are taking the degree plan, you also need to have at least 6 credit hours for transportation and the textbook lending. Childcare, as I mentioned, is 12 credit hours or clinicals. And then the biggest one is you have to qualify financially. I can take a couple different things to prove you financially qualify. If you receive a Pell grant, you automatically qualify. I just need a picture of your award letter. You also can submit proof of WIC, TANF, or SNAP, which are the government assistance programs. And if you have none of that, I can take a look at your 1040. If it's the summer semester, it has to be the one from 2020 because it falls under the 2020 to 2021 aid year. If it's for the fall, it'll be a different one. We can talk more about that when it comes time for fall. If you have any questions, though, please do email me and I can just see if you qualify. You do have to fill out an application, but I know it's pretty hard to follow this kind of stuff out loud. So just email me or call me and I can help you.
Can you talk a little bit about the books and how it works with? And I know that you're specifically not just if you're lending books, but I don't know if we have any of the faculty here anymore. So can you look and see like if it's an online class, does it have to be like an online book or a digital book, or can they do paper-based book as well?
I don't know if there's any faculty on still who wants to jump in, but I do have a lot of experience with the books. So classes, there's a couple different ways you can have your books for the textbook lending program specifically. I will issue books that are physical copies or ebook codes. But for your class itself, sometimes there are OERs, which are open educational resources, which mean your book is found online for free and your professor should provide the link for that. It should be in the syllabus. If it is not, it is on the CTC website under a spot to find it. There's also ebook codes. You can purchase those through the bookstore or through the website where the codes are provided, like the publisher of the code, I mean. The bookstore will for sure have the one you need because sometimes you can accidentally buy the wrong one, so I'd be careful with that. And then your physical books you can also purchase. Sometimes there are multiple ways to purchase a book. The bookstore sometimes has a physical book and an ebook code, and sometimes there's a bundle with both. Pick the method that would work best for you. I know sometimes it's a lot more expensive to get the bundle, but sometimes the bundle is more helpful. So please pick what is best for you. And the bookstore will also tell you what is required and what is optional for your class. Sometimes the bookstore has books that your teacher has said, these are kind of helpful, but I'm not requiring it. And those are the optional ones. Those ones you do not have to purchase because they are optional. But I do know quite a few students find them helpful because they have more information and they're good study guides.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hey, we will post, there's an instructional course material link that we can post in the chat, and you can always go there if you don't have access yet to your course syllabus, and that will give you a good sense of what the required materials are for your course. That should also let you know if the faculty member is going to give you access to an online resource, an OER, as Morgan said. Also, some instructors encourage you to go through a publisher to purchase a book, and that will be posted in your syllabus if they want you to do that. But we'll put that listing out, so that's another place that you can go to get information about what's required for your individual course.
Yes, and I see something about dual credit and dual credit students. Now, again, this is something that is depending on your ISD or high school. For the most part, the ISDs or the high school will provide the books, but you still need to talk to your counselors there. Because there may be instances where you may have to cover some of those books, depending if you're in an ISD that we don't have an agreement with to get books for.
I think if you were like in early college, high school, if you're part of STEM, if you're part of a contracted program with the ISD is going to typically cover your course materials. If though you are just choosing on your own accord to take a college class with us while you are a high school student, that is going to be at your expense.
Yes. So I'd still say talk to your counselor at your
Yes.
high school, and they will definitely be able to tell you what they will cover and what they will not. So but the library is something that is open to all of our students regardless, and it's actually, our library is also available to the community. It is not just available to CTC students. So even if you, for example, you have a parent or a friend who says, "Oh, I just need to access a library, and I really wish I could use CTC library resources." Yes, come on down. They're welcome to contact the library. They will explain to them how somebody from the community can use the resources. It just takes a few extra steps because they're not a student. But it is definitely available for each and every one of our students and our community. So we definitely want you to spread that word. Our librarians love people, which is kind of, stereotypically you think of that quiet, mousy person. Our librarians are not like that. They actually are pretty outgoing and they really love talking to people. And so if you actually walk in there, they will be super excited to be able to talk to you about whatever is going on and whatever help you need. I do think Copper's Cove ISD has an agreement. However, I also know that students have to partially pay some of the stuff from Copper's Cove. So that's why you still have to go back to the counselor and talk to them. For if you're in a dual credit class, there is still a cost involved. Anything else that I have missed in the chat that we might need to address, or somebody else has a question about that we might need to address that we haven't yet? I just kind of looked through. I scrolled through, but I don't know if I'm missing anything else.
I have a question.
Yes.
Please, are mask required?
Can you say it louder, please?
Are masks required? Face masks.
Okay. Oh, no. In the state of Texas right now, if you're taking a class in the state of Texas, it is not required. However, it is definitely something that if you feel like you need to use it, we encourage you to do so.
Thank you.
Hey, let me just quickly address the COVID requirements that we do have on our campus, just so that everybody is aware of that. We do not require masks, but we do encourage. We do require, though, that if you do, we encourage you also to be vaccinated. There is no requirement. But if you do are exposed or test positive for COVID, we do need you to self-report that, and you do self-report it to the Student Success and Persistence Office. And we will work with you, and we will also, we are the link to letting your faculty know about what's going on, because there are expectations You're not automatically waived from class. I mean, obviously we don't want you to be in class if you're in a face-to-face, if you have COVID. But what we do is we let the faculty know what's going on with you, and then the faculty coordinate with you individually about how you're going to do makeup work and different things like that for your class. But it is all triggered by you reporting to us. If you don't report to us, then these kinds of accommodations do not happen for you. So please reach out to SSP if, God forbid, that happens to you. I will say our cases are going down, which is great, but we do have a protocol in place to keep everybody safe.
Thank you. Yes. Okay. So I see something about scholarships. So there's different kinds of scholarships, and I think the scholarships that you're talking about, Mr. Ferris, has to do with our foundation. They do have a very small window for applying. It's usually January to the end of February. And a lot of it has to do because later on they have to identify students and figure out who they're going to be able make sure that they have all the requirements necessary to be able to give them the scholarship and then be able to give them out. And then sometimes people don't accept them and then they have to figure somebody else out that they have to give it to. There are times though where they find that they really have a scholarship and they really want to give it out and that time period was not enough, and they may open it up again for people to request scholarships. So please be on the lookout for that. Our foundation occasionally will open it up again. They might open it up like during the fall, like let's say maybe September to October for a spring class or something along those lines. It doesn't happen all the time, but occasionally it has happened. The other thing is that through our financial aid office, and I don't know if Pearl's still around, but she said she would be, or she might be coming back. They have other scholarships that sometimes are available, and a lot of times those are triggered by the FAFSA. So even if you do not qualify for FAFSA, sometimes it does help for you to apply because that might still give you other options that our financial aid office might be able to guide you to get some assistance for scholarships. So definitely look into that. I see a question here about lending laptops, and I know that our student success had some laptops they could lend out, but they don't do that anymore. Okay. Is there, and I think if you want to like, I don't know that they have anything for lending necessary, but we definitely have computers that you can borrow in student success and in the library. You can come over here and then you can use them here.
Here, I think Morgan can answer it. Why don't we let Morgan fully answer? Because the library, I think you have to use it on site. That you don't get to take it home unless a special provision is made. But I think Morgan maybe can give what all we offer.
So there's a couple ways you can use a computer. There are numerous computer labs on campus that you can use. There's the one in the academic studio, which is the tutoring center. There is the ones in the library, and I believe there is one in the computer science building if you are a computer science major. I do not know if those who are not computer science people can use them. You'd have to check that, but there are two for sure that anyone can use. There are also ones in the nursing area for nursing students. You will need student ID cards to use those computers because you'll have to sign in, and most places require that you sign in with your student ID card. Now, for taking computers home, I do not know if the library lets you take them home, but there are laptops you can use with the library. And then if you qualify, starting in the fall, because things are still wonky with my program with the tablets, there are tablets that you're going to be able to borrow. Hopefully they're up and running by the summer 2 semester. But you can borrow a laptop, borrow a tablet, I should say, if you qualify for the CTE programs, textbook lending specifically. You will need to have a ebook code for one of your required textbooks, otherwise you won't get one. Unfortunately, that's how we had to work it out. If you have more questions on that, you can go ahead and email me. I have my email in there numerous times, or you can just put it back in, put your name in, and I will send you my email.
Thank you, Morgan. Let's see. The CTC follow a traditional high school schedule such as off, weekends, major holidays. So yes and no. I say yes and no because the administrative staff usually does not work, for the most part, does not work on weekends or holidays. However, there are some classes that are offered on the weekends and in the evenings. So most of the staff in our central campus, at least, we have locations, all over, and they have different times that they work. But in our central campus, most of the staff works 7:30 to 5:30, Monday through Thursday, and then 7:30 to 11:30 on Fridays. That doesn't necessarily mean that there might not be some classes going on at other times. We have sometimes weekend classes, evening classes, and there are other options available. So usually the major holidays are the same and everybody pretty much sticks to that, but the actual schedule is not necessarily the same as it would be on a high school where everybody's out by a certain time and that's it. We have classes that are consistently going on.
Mayor Sally, let me just add that this summer, Central Campus is observing summer hours, which means the campus is closed every Friday, starting this Friday. And so we'll be open Monday through Thursday, but closed on Fridays, every Friday through July 29th. Now, as far as holidays go, we observe the Memorial Day, Labor Day, July 4th, Juneteenth, and all the New Year's Day, the Christmas holidays, the traditional holidays that KISD or other school districts observe, we observe those as well. So
Yes, definitely. So thank you for adding that because I did forget to mention that. Let's see here. Individual approving students. I am not sure what that means. Will the library be open on Saturdays? I have an online class. For the summer, I'm not sure. I don't think they are.
No.
Usually in the regular semester, the like August to December, January through May, they are open.
Not on
but in the
Saturdays, not on Saturdays. They are not open on Saturdays.
anymore at all?
No, they are not open on Saturdays.
Okay, well then there's your answer. Regardless, they do have an online option if you're taking an online class, and you can submit stuff to them 24/7 and they will get back to you as soon as they're open. So they do have an email that you can contact them even if it's on a weekend. They may not respond to you in the weekend, but they will get back to you the next time that they're open, and they will try to help you that way. A lot of the stuff is already online. So even if there's not a librarian available for you to talk to, you still have access to the online information. And a lot of like the databases and other things are still available online for students worldwide at any time.
Can I just address, I feel like we're getting some questions about like if you don't have access to a computer and you're in an online class and you're wanting to maybe access those computer labs, you are going to have to pay attention to our hours of operation. Again, you would not be able to use the library's computer facilities on Friday or Saturday, but you can use it any other day of the week based on their hours that they are there. Same thing with the academic studio. You can use us, but we will not be open on the weekends and on Fridays as well. So you do need to bear all of that in mind if you're trying to use on-campus computer resources, to pay attention to what place you're going and what those hours of operation are in order to access all of that information. I think the question came up, would there be access to, a laptop to use over the weekends? And not necessarily, no. We don't have a lending opportunity for laptops in that situation. One of the requirements when you sign up for an online class is that you are supposed to have access to, the appropriate technology required for those classes. So do bear that in mind when you sign up for that. And if you'd like us to post what those requirements are, we can do that for you.
Perfect. Let's see. Thank you, because I think that really needed to be cleared up overall. Where's the main campus located? I am in Fort Hood. Okay, well, we're really close. We're literally right across I-14 from Fort Hood. This used to actually be part of Fort Hood, historically speaking, if you want to talk about the history of CTC. If you drive through, depending on what part of Fort Hood you're located, because Fort Hood's pretty big. But if you go ahead and drive up Like if you're coming from Killeen and you're going to Copperas Cove, you're going to see the sign on the left side of the highway, and we're off of Clear Creek, and kind of the main roads are off of Clear Creek and also Bell Tower Road off of I-14. So you're welcome to just kind of, if you drive through that way, you're going to be able to see the campus entrances, and that's where we're located. That's a really great question, because some of you may not know.
I think we got another question about how you'll access your online classes. And again, that is through your Blackboard. You will have access typically about the Friday before the class starts. So like right now, with it being Thursday, if we have, I do think we have a session starting next week. But again, your Blackboard would not be available to you until Friday at the earliest. And so you have to look at what your start date is and then kind of back up from that. And do understand, if you late register for one of these online classes, you will not have immediate access to Blackboard. It will still take a couple of days for you to get that. So bear that in mind as well.
Oh, Pearl, are you here? Because I see somebody typing and I don't know if she's here. No?
She's responding.
Okay.
Yes, I'm here. I've been responding to the chats.
Okay, I just didn't see you, but can you talk a little bit about using financial aid to purchase books?
Yes, on the financial aid, you would use your balance that was not used for tuition. So what happens is 10 days prior to the start of your classes, financial aid releases your money for the number of hours that you're in to the business office. They apply that to your student account and reduce it by the amount of your tuition. Anything left can be used at the CTC bookstore. And as I put in the chat, you can use that to purchase a laptop if you need to, or any other supplies. And you do so by giving them your student ID number, and they will deduct those charges from the balance that you have. Then if you don't use all of that, anything remaining gets sent to you as a balance check about 30 days after classes start.
Thank you. Yes, that's something that a lot of individuals maybe are not aware of. Yes, go ahead, Morgan. I see you wanting.
Please make sure you have your student ID card. If you're going to use the financial aid funds at the bookstore, they will ask for one and they will send you to go get one. It's faster if you just go in with one. Again,
Yes.
that's going to be in building 209, room 106, I believe. That's the enrollment center.
Oh, the ID cards.
Yes,
209.
the ID cards.
Also, even if you're worldwide and you need to use those funds, you have to use the CTC bookstore specifically. And you can order those online. But make sure that you're using the correct bookstore. There are some others out there that are having, they look like they might be ours, but they're not. So make sure you go directly to our website and link it from the ctcd.edu website, not just type in CTC bookstore, because you could get all kinds of other things that are not legit.
I see somebody asking about ID cards for dual credit. As long as you are a CTC student and are willing to come to the main campus to building 209 to get your ID card, you can get an ID card.
Yes.
If you are taking classes on this campus and you're going to physically be on the campus, it is recommended that you get an ID card, whether you're dual credit or not, because to access most of the resources, you are going to have to show your ID card.
Yes. I have a question here. How do I let my parents access my grades or receive communications from the college? Now, we're not going to give your parents access to or send them directly communications. But what's going to happen is if they have an inquiry, if they want to come and ask questions, that is the only way. Then we can talk to them if you have given us written permission. And that one of the ways that you could do that, the main way, is there is an e-form for that. And e-forms are something that you will be using a lot to be able to do different services in the system at CTC. And so there's specifically an e-form that says that you grant permission, and then you have to give specific people and the specific kind of access that you're giving the individuals. It can't just be, oh, I give permission and it goes for everything. It has to be very specific. So that's how that works. Is online class going to be 5 days a week? So depends on the type of online class. So if you have one that is what we call synchronous, which is similar to what we're doing right now, those classes you're going to log in at specific dates and times, and you're going to be able to communicate directly with a faculty member, just like what we're doing right now. This is considered synchronous learning.
I think in student self-service, it's listed as SVL. So if you have
SVL, yes.
SVL, that means you're going to log on online at a very specific time each week, you know, maybe twice a week, maybe 3 times a week, and do that class.
Yes. So that's that one. Yes, you have to log in at very specific times and dates. If you're doing online, either just regular online, or if you're doing self-paced, then no, you just log in and do your work at, you know, and if it's online, you're going to have very specific dates where things are due, and that's it. If you're doing self-paced, then you're just going to have, you know, you just have to turn everything in by the end of the class, and you're in that way. So it really depends on what kind of online class you have. You need to be very cognizant. Again, this is all in your syllabus. So make sure that as soon as you have access to Blackboard for your class, first thing you should be doing is going to each and every one of your classes, reading the syllabi, and making sure that you know exactly what's expected and when. Let's see. Okay, that one was answered. For computer aid drafting and design, do you have to be on campus? And I know they have some online classes, but I think there's a there at some point you do have to come to campus, because there is a lab component that has to be done on campus. So it just really depends. I really recommend that you contact a department and verify exactly what classes you need to be in person, what classes can be done online, so that you know exactly what you need to do and when. Let's see. What place to figure out your placement test, please contact academic advising. They can help you with your placement tray.
And that was the TSI that Richard Lewis mentioned, everybody, is that what CTC requires is a TSI score, unless you are exempt or you are waived or have already taken a class that allows us to forego that requirement. But your academic advisor is going to be the best person to advise you in terms of what your status is regarding TSI. We do have a TSI testing office here that is open and that will provide the test to you. It is not free though, and you do have to pay for that. So that is a requirement. So just bear that in mind as well.
Is there a cafeteria in the school? Yes. Well, if you're going to our central campus, their main one, yes, we do have a cafeteria here. We have multiple campuses, and so depending on the location you're at, you may have something nearby for food or not. But if you're talking about the central campus, which is where most of us that are talking right now are located, then the answer is yes. We do have a very nice cafeteria here.
Yeah, and they offer lunch and dinner service and a breakfast.
Correct.
And if you don't like any of those on the menu items, there is a snack bar available inside there as well.
So Julio, how does the schedule work for people in the military? We try to be as military friendly as we can be. Especially, I know that you said you're in Fort Hood. We do offer classes in Fort Hood. We work very closely with the military and the military requirements. I would definitely have a conversation with your chain of command and make sure that they understand that you're trying to take college classes, and make sure that they know and they tell you what their expectations are for you and what needs to happen if you're planning on taking classes. And this is for any active duty. Actually, it really works with anybody that's working and also trying to go to school. Let your job know what's going on, what you're planning on doing, and so they can tell you specifically, yes, this is going to work with us or not. I know that with some of the military folk, if you're at a certain level, they might say you can't go to school or you can't do anything else until you have these qualifications or until you reach these goals with the with your command, and then from there on, then we can talk about you doing other things. Then you want to talk to your education center, make sure that you have your financial aid tuition assistance squared away and that you know what that is going to look like, how you're going to request it. And before you actually start taking classes, because that's going to make a difference in terms of what is a good schedule for me to actually physically go to a classroom, or if you're doing online. If you know you're going to be in some training and you're going to be gone for 3 weeks in the middle of the class, and you really have to think about that. If you know that ahead of time, is that really going to be beneficial for you to take that class? When you already know that you're going to be offline for 2 or 3 weeks? The answer I'm going to tell you right now is probably no. Having said that, because you are military, things do happen off in the fly, and things happen. So if for all of a sudden you're taking your class, you did everything right, and then they tell you, oh, now you're going to go TDY, or you're going to have to go somewhere out of nowhere and it wasn't expected, you really need to reach out to your faculty members, let them know what's going on, explain to them what's happening, and we try to be as accommodating as we can within reason. Because at some point we do have to give you grades and we have to figure it out, but we try to work with our military as much as possible. Let's see. Wait, how would you describe CTC? Serious, relaxing, hard, or is it just depends on the teacher in class? I'm going to say it's depending on the student. Let me tell you why. Each person has a different way of approaching things, okay? So it's all going to be based on how you approach things. And yes, the faculty and the staff is going to be a factor into all this because everybody has an individualized personality. Hard and easy, that depends on each person. What's easy for me might be hard for you and vice versa. So that one, I'm just going to say we will take academics seriously. We care and we try to be as understanding as possible, but we're still serious about making sure that you get the correct education and that you get the right information, and that when you say you took a class at CTC, it has a level of validity in the academics and in the world, and that is sustained. But we also, you can also have a little bit of fun in here, and we're also here to help you balance all of that too.
I do want you guys to be prepared though, if the question is being asked, like you were coming from high school and you're coming to college, you are going to see a difference in college classes than what you got at the high school level. And I do need you to be prepared for a few things. Number one, you're not going to get a study review prior to each test. Our faculty are not going to do that. They consider everything that they taught you leading up to a test as your review, and you are responsible for all of that material. Okay, so there's no reviews, there's no worksheets, that doesn't happen. You are expected to do a lot of outside work for your college classes. That's why you have a textbook. Your faculty member are not going to necessarily go over everything that they assigned you to read, but you are responsible for that when you get to a test. So bear that in mind. There's a tremendous probably more reading that you need to be prepared to do. There's also going to probably be more writing. At the college level, you always write using citations. You never just submit a paper and just hope for the best. You even do citations when you make posts online, and you have to comment or advocate a position online for various posts. You also have to cite where you got that information and how you did it, because that's all about plagiarism. So you need to get very familiar with things like MLA and APA and things like that. The library is going to be a wonderful resource if you're concerned about that, about helping you learn about those citation sources and things like that. The Academic Studio is a great resource to help you in the writing creation process. and get you moved along. So I do want you to be prepared for classes are different. It requires more outside prep work. And a lot of stuff isn't fed to you. Faculty want to help you. They want to answer your questions and all of that, but you do need to be prepared for that. That's the reason why we're spending so much time telling you about the resources that are available, and we want you to use them starting day one. Because the sooner places like the academic studio and the library and the writing lab and the places like that can help you along with those things, the more success you're going to have. Wait, I think Pearl had
one thing, if I could. For students, one of the biggest things that I hear all the time, and I usually say this about 40 times in every presentation that I have, and I didn't get to do it yet, so I'm going to now. Ask questions. I cannot tell you how many times we get students that come in and they say, well, nobody told me. I did what I thought I was supposed to, but I hadn't heard from anybody, so I assumed everything's okay. You have got to ask questions. Just a reminder, CTC is worldwide. We have students all over the world. Our one financial aid office here on main campus handles all of the FAFSA applications for students worldwide. We're not just here in Killeen with a handful of students. So we have thousands of students that we're applying and trying to finish their aid files with. And you need to get in touch with us. If you haven't heard from us by now and classes have already started, you may not even have financial aid and you think you do. So this applies across campus. We don't know what your questions are unless you come to us and ask us. So please, please, please ask questions. There's no stupid questions, no dumb questions. There's no question that you shouldn't waste your time asking. If you don't know, you need to find out who can give you the answer and make sure you speak up. Thanks, I'm done.
Thank you, Pearl. Yes. I saw something here about internships. Yes, there are some programs that offer internships as part of the curriculum. That is part of the degree plan. So that's one thing. If you're looking to do an internship and maybe learn about different options within your field, then I would recommend that you talk to our career center and our career services. They can help you identify some internships and some places that you might be able to work and figure out ways that you're applying what you're learning, and that way you have that experiential learning aspect as well. So I would say if it's not part of your curriculum and oh, another thing, talk to your faculty too, because sometimes they get information about internships available for students within a certain field, and they might say, hey, I have these 5 people that might be interested in an internship, but so I would say definitely talk to your faculty and career services about the opportunities for internships. So that's a really great question. Online logins, it really depends. We have multiple logins. Each page, though, at the beginning, it will tell you if this is your first time logging in. It will kind of guide you through your own login process. We are desperately looking for work studies, and I know Lucette wrote that in there, but we're going to throw that in there again, and I know Pearl mentioned it too. Please, there's VA work studies, there's financial aid work studies, and then there's just, if you go to the CTC employment page, there's some positions also open for student workers. Please apply. We're looking for actually trying to figure out how to fill some of these positions. So please, if you need a job, and a lot of the things is that they're here on campus. So the people that work for us and our students, we try to be really flexible about the times, that you're working. We'll be flexible with, the like if you need to go to class, then we'll work around your schedule, that kind of stuff. Where maybe if you go work somewhere else, they will not be as flexible as we are. And it's really convenient if you get out of class, come to work, and you don't have to go very far. Gas, again, is a factor right now, and it just makes it a lot easier if everything's kind of together for you guys. So that's my plug for that. Am I missing anything else that has been coming in the chat that maybe I haven't addressed? For those of you that are keeping up with the chat. Anybody else has any other questions? You need a job, Darius. Let's make this work. Definitely check out with financial aid, or looking at our job board. We need people. I know right now I have 2 positions at least that are open, and I know financial aid has been desperately looking for people, and VA as well for student workers. So come check it out. Come see what we have. We want to. And Academic Studio is consistently looking for tutors and looking for people to help, because the more tutors, the better. The more tutors we have, the more students we can serve at a time, especially in those. Everybody takes math, everybody takes English for the most, and needs help with those, and we are constantly looking for more tutors. Yes, Jadarius, you can just come up to the campus, and you can, depending on what you want to do, and you want to talk to somebody from financial aid, or you want to talk to HR, you could definitely do that. And we can guide you through the process of helping you apply for a position, depending on what you're looking for and what you want to do. So, all right, other questions, because we have really good questions coming up today. I feel like we've been pretty much going the entire time, just answering some really amazing questions. So you guys,
I
so
think we
everybody,
had somebody that wanted more information about the VA work study.
oh, okay.
we
Lisette, are you here?
We posted the I'm sorry, Patrice Kennerson.
Okay.
The contact for the VA.
Yeah, I put it in the chat box because our application is a little bit different if you're interested in working with veteran services. And Patrice Kennerson will be the contact for that. If you have any questions, please give her a call or come on up and see us. We are in building 215 on the 2nd level. Just bypass financial aid, come right on up to us. Yep, that's what you need to do.
Pearl's like, don't bypass us. We're here. No,
Financial aid work studies. You can do that right in our office.
We got a question. The types of courses we'll be taking, is it based off of what we took in high school or what we want? It's mostly you select your degree plan and what it is you want to study while you're in college. Certainly, the preparation that you received in high school might impact your grade that you get. I mean, what happens on your TSI, and what we can do with that. But ultimately, this is about what you want to study going forward. So if you want to be in a transfer degree that then moves on to a 4-year institution, if you want to be in a career technical field over in the Kate Center or whatever, it is up to you. And that's why it's very important that you have an advising session and that you meet. I know Richard Lewis was here, and that is part of what the academic advisors do, is talk to you about what it is you want and trying to flesh that out, and then putting you on a degree plan that best suits your needs and desires going forward.
Yes, but keep in mind, there are core requirements such as English, histories, and governments, which are very similar to what you took in high school. I mean, as far as the, what you required to take. So some of those degree plans require those same kind of core classes, like I said, English, government, history, and certain math. So just be prepared for that as well.
Yeah, and I think Julio, in your case, I know that you mentioned, I think you said that you wanted to work with cybersecurity, so in your military. So one of the things that you have to keep in mind is that the military wants you to be on a degree plan. They want you to stick to it, and they want you to take those classes that are part of the degree plan. So make sure that you have that squared in your mind, and so that you are taking exactly what you need, so that you can complete that degree plan. And that happens with a lot of the people that are having financial aid. They really want you to try to stick as much as possible to that degree plan that you choose, because that's what they want you to, that's what they're willing to pay for you. So
yeah, if you take a class outside your degree plan and you're on financial aid won't cover that. So do bear that in mind.
So
your degree plan is very important here at the institution. What you select. It is easy to switch it. You just go to academic advising if you want to switch it and change it and you have something else. But it drives a lot in terms of what we do for you and with you.
Yes. Now,
And
if you don't know what
VA
you want to,
won't cover
I'm sorry,
it
go ahead.
either. VA won't cover it either. If it's not required by your degree plan, VA, if you're under Hazelwood or GI Bill, any of those things, it will not be covered.
If the government's paying, they want to pay for you to get a degree plan, and that's it. So that includes VA, Hazelwood, financial aid through, FAFSA. If you're military tuition assistance, the government wants to pay. They want to pay only for what they need to, and that's it. Now, if you don't know what you want to do when you grow up, that is a great question. So you want to, one of the things we recommend that you do is go to our career services area. They actually have an online test that you can take, and it's a career survey, and it kind of it's pretty extensive. Take your time with it. And what it's going to do is at the end, it's going to kind of break down some of the things that it shows that you're interested in. And you can actually make an appointment with somebody in our career services area. They can look at it, they can like break it down for you, explain to you what that means, what that can mean for you, what are some options that we have available based on what the interest that you have shown. And that might help you figure out what you want to study. And whenever in doubt, I always say we also have the interdisciplinary degree plan. That is the I don't know what I want to do, but eventually I probably want to continue and take some classes. It takes care of that core curriculum that we call, and it includes those basic, the maths, the Englishes, the sciences, the histories, the governments, etc. And those at least will give you a very good foundation as an associate's degree. And then later on, if you just, as you're taking these classes, you might start to figure out, oh, I like this more because you took that weird science, kind of like what Dr. Weggert mentioned. Oh, I had to take this geology class. And then I ended up figuring out that I love that. And that's what I like to do. So it might help you out. Also get involved with people on campus, see what everybody's interested in, what are some of the things that they might want to do in the future. Ask questions of your faculty, really just ask questions of anybody. What path did you take? You can go up to anybody that works here at CTC and say, well, how did you get here? And you don't know what might trigger something that of interest that you can further explore and keep going into. So I hope that helps. I've completed financial aid process, but if one wants to do work study, would that be based off financial aid approval, and would it have been listed as an option, or can we openly apply for this? So I think to explain that, for financial aid worker, you have to qualify for financial aid. And the same thing for VA work study, you have to qualify for VA. However, if you just want a job at CTC, you just go to the regular web page and look under employment, and there are things like student worker, and those are positions that are only for students, and they don't have any, you don't have to necessarily be qualified for financial aid or anything like that if that's your case. So that's why we have different options just for you. You have to have some of this stuff has already been answered, but I'm just kind of going through it because maybe somebody else online has a question. How do we take the assessment test? I'm guessing you're talking about TSI. No, what assessment is it, Morgan?
It was the career services My Plan assessment.
Thank you. Okay, so to get that assessment, you actually go to our website. Here, I'll show y'all. Let me share my screen real quick because that's a good question and I mentioned it. And we want to definitely. So if under the CTC main page, if you actually go to search and you go to career services, the first one that you get here, this is our career services page. And here on the left, it says career assessment. And it's called My Plan. Here's the login instructions. It's free, so you just follow these instructions. And then once you're done, you go back to the About Us page. Here maybe just the central one. Let's see. The main one here, and you can actually contact them, and here's their phone and email, and make an appointment, so that way you can discuss with them what your options are. So let's see. And the link is also in the chat, but I just want to clear. My military ACE transcripts. When can I? Okay, so military ACE transcripts, you have to actually submit the information. Let me actually go back here and show you in our. Let me share the screen again. So if you're here and you want to have your stuff evaluated, actually you just click evaluation under the search bar, and it's going to take you to the evaluated credit. This is how you get evaluated credit as a student. So if you're military, active duty military, you have that joint transcript, joint services transcript, and you're going to send it in to us to CTC. You're going to send it to us. We're going to actually, it used to be that you had to, then there's a request for official evaluation. I think we used to have a certain amount of credits that you had to have with CTC before you could be officially evaluated. But I don't see that in here, so I'm not sure if that's still a thing. Let me see if it's in the frequently asked questions, because that happens. I don't see that it says here, but basically that's how you submit it. And so if you have any questions, you can contact the evaluations department and they will help you figure out how long that's going to take. It also depends on how many they're evaluating at a moment, but don't think that it's going to happen like in a week. Usually it takes a little bit longer than that.
Hey,
if I
where's
was
everybody at?
Okay, if I was approved for loans, then I qualify, correct? I'm guessing you're talking about work study, and I'm gonna say probably, but I don't want to be the one to answer that because I'm not sure. Okay. Thanks, Pearl. Answer the question. Yes. Okay. Am I eligible to take part in Veterans Work Study? And it tells you all the requirements. Oh, somebody posted that. Great, thank you. There's the My Plan. Is there anyone you can talk to about transfer credits via email? Yes, and that's that evaluation department. They
I
will
also gave him Eagles on Call to talk to.
Yeah, those are the two, but the evaluations department is the one that's going to look at anything that wants to be transferred in, any transcripts, any location. They're the ones who are going to make it official. So the advisors are going to look at it and they are going to know more or less what transfers in and what doesn't. But what makes it official is going to be that official evaluation. So make sure that you have that. Are there opportunities to study abroad?
No.
I don't know that we have.
We at CTC do not coordinate a study abroad program. Certainly there are programs that students can work through, but CTC does not have one that we specifically coordinate with.
Right. So I can't find journalism in the course catalog. So how do I find it as a course? So we don't necessarily have journalism per se, but a lot of our communications courses are the core of journalism. So we don't have journalism as an actual degree plan. Usually you're going to have to go to get a bachelor's in journalism to be able to do that. However, for that, when you look, and you can talk to a transfer advisor and they can kind of help you figure out where you want to go. But usually, if you're going to take anything that has to do journalism, marketing, and all of that, you're going to take a lot of communications classes so that you can learn how to communicate effectively, how to write effectively, and make sure that you have that really good foundation. We will give you that really good foundation so that later on, when you get your bachelor's degree in journalism or something along those lines, it's really a communications degree because that's what journalism ultimately is.
Hey, can I just tell everybody, we are at the 12 o'clock hour. This is
Oh,
when
yes.
we said the program was going to end. You are more than welcome. We want to thank you for participating in our new student orientation program. You are going to get some information from us about, please give us some survey information. We're also going to be sending all of you information about our career cluster programs that will start at end of August and 1st of September. That's where you'll learn more about the various academic programs and different things that we do. You can opt into all of those. So you are going to get that. But the only reason I wanted to tell you at 12, you are more than welcome now to, if you are done and you've gotten all of your questions answered, you can close out and you can say goodbye to us. But we certainly, many of us will stick around in case you have questions that you still need answered. But I want to tell you, officially new student orientation, unless Mariceli has anything else to close out with, is complete. I do encourage everybody. We have our welcome week activities that are going to happen. We don't do a welcome week for the summer, but we will be doing one the first 2 weeks of classes in the fall semester. You are going to be getting information about that. Want to see you participate and get involved with that as well. You've gotten a lot of information, contact information, and please, please, please grab hold of anybody's name that works here at CTC. Hold on to that and then send that email out if you get lost or confused, because we certainly want to help direct you. But again, many of us are going to stay put. If you have more questions, that's fine. Keep asking your questions. But if you are done, thank you for participating in new student orientation.
Thank you. Yes. And I want to give a special shout out for our Discord group. This is the first time we actually got this many people through Discord and also through Facebook. We've got quite a few that have been joining us through Facebook. So thank you. We've had some great conversations. And I just want to say thank you to all for participating. We will continue to answer as many questions if you have them, but I appreciate everybody's time, and also especially to those of you that work at CTC and have been here the entire time to help answer a lot of these questions as they're coming in. Special shout out to you guys. Let's see. Thank you. Have a great weekend to you guys as well. All right. As of right now, I am going to wrap up. Let's see. Any other questions? Anything else? Bye, everybody. Oh, everybody's so nice. Oh. All right. I am going to go ahead and disconnect from Facebook. Thank you.